We are now opening the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, which is Monday, April 24, 2017. This meeting is in the Boardroom Administration Building at 2000 North 23rd Street in McAllen, Texas. That's 5 o'clock open of that. We're going to recess this meeting, the 5 o'clock meeting, at 5 o'clock. So that's now being recessed. So now move on to item 2, recess into closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. 2A, Human Resource Recommendations for School Year 2017-2018. 2B, Human Resource Employee Resignations for School Year 2016-2017. 2C, Superintendent's Recommendation concerning the renewal of 2016-2017 employee contracts of teachers and other professional personnel for the school year 2017-2018 under DC Legal Board Policy. 2D, Assistant Principal for Andrew Jackson Elementary. 2E, Director of Payroll. 2F, pending or potential litigation. And 2G, possible real estate acquisition. So at 5:26, Board of Trustees will now go into closed session. We are recessing the closed session. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District. Today is Monday, April the 24th, 2017. The Board of Trustees has been in closed session. While we were in closed session, no vote or action was taken. We're now reconvening, and it's now 6 o'clock. We're meeting in the McAllen Independent School District's office, 2000 North 23rd Street in McAllen, Texas. Items listed on the agenda may be taken in order or may be subject to reorganization at any time. If everybody would please rise, we'll start with the invocation, which will be led by Trustee Esparza.
Please bow your heads. Almighty God, we come together for the good of our children in our schools. Give us your wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and in the years to come. Help us work well together, recognizing that each of us, parents, educators, and community representatives, are here because we love our children and we want what is best for them. We ask for your blessings and your guidance. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. The Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge will be led by Trustee Suarez.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'd like to welcome the audience that is in attendance here in the boardroom, as well as those that may be watching on their mobile devices. We'd also like to take a moment on behalf of the Board of Trustees to thank the art students from Lamar Academy under the direction of Javier Perez, Travis Middle School under the direction of Oscar Castillo, and McAllen Memorial High School under the direction of Esmeralda Benitez and Rena Roberts, who produced the artwork you see displayed here in the boardroom. We appreciate the hard work that goes into this, and on behalf of the board, extend our thanks to those students and teachers. Thank you. We now proceed to item 6A, recognition of the Wonder League Robotics State and International Champions, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Wonder Workshop, using their Dot and Dash robotics, held their second-year coding contest. Mrs. Cooksey, the librarian at Bettis Elementary, registered 4 teams for Wonder League Robotics State and International competitions and international champions. Dr. Ibarra will introduce Ms. Cooksey and her students.
Yes, good afternoon. Coding is a new team sport for future tech leaders and innovators. Over 2 to 5 months of time, children in teams of up to 5 will design solutions to real-world science and technology challenges by programming and building extensions for their Dash and Dot robots. They will develop problem-solving and creativity skills, learn about issues facing the world around them, and build meaningful relationships with their peers. Top teams will be invited to complete the final round in spring 2017. Student teams from both Fields and Pettis Elementary submitted entries. The 4 teams from Pettis Elementary all received perfect scores. All of the groups are state champions with a perfect score. In the junior division, there are 5 teams that tied for first in Texas. 2 belong to Pettis. In the senior division, 7 teams in Texas had a perfect score, and 2 belong to Pettis. The programming princesses were asked to compete in the final round due to their advanced coding skills, more efficient coding, and they placed 3rd in the competition, International Wonder League Robotics Competition. The teams are here tonight, and Ms. Brenda Houston will help me introduce them.
Good evening. I would like to introduce the KG Cheetahs from the junior division, 6 through 8 age group. They had a perfect score. They're one of 5 teams in the state of Texas. Michael Trevino. Gretchen Martinez. And Olivia Garza. From the senior division, ages 9 through 12, they too had a perfect score out of one of 7 teams in the state of Texas, and we have Leonardo Mendez. Oh, I'm sorry, no one from that team? Caitlin. Caitlin is here from the Code Talkers. Oh, I'm so sorry. Damsels and Dash. Caitlin Ligas. We have a second team that is from Pettis Elementary, the Code Talkers, and there is not a representative here. Now, our number 1 in the state of Texas, number 3 in the nation, and number 3 in the international.
2 in nation, 3.
Oh, I'm so very sorry. First in the state, second in the nation, and 3rd in the international competition are our programming princesses, Ina Garza and Sienna Molinaro. Representing Pettis administration is Carla Walk.
With them tonight is the newly announced Texas State Librarian of the Year for 2017, Ms. Cynthia Cooksey, Pettis Elementary Librarian. Mr. Albert Irlas is the principal from Pettis Elementary, and also joining us is Brenda Houston, Coordinator for Library Services, and Ann Vega, Director for Instructional Technology and Library Services.
One, two, three. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Don't move.
No move.
Parents, if you would, want to stand up, be recognized, and then take all the pictures you like. Here's the rest of that.
I think we're good. Thank you.
All right, outstanding. Thank you. Congratulations.
do? You're all right. I heard you. We'll now proceed, item 6B. This is the recognition of the McAllen High School girls soccer team. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This evening, we congratulate our Mac High girls soccer team for a hard-fought string of championship wins. Coach Paula Gonzalez and Dr. Barrera will tell us more.
We start off our introduction with our team. Starting off, we have Saraí Acosta. Ava Alanis. Melinda Garza. Weston Henderson. Lexi Gonzalez. Sofia Soto. Giselle Soto. Andrea Soto. Zoe Flores. Emily Gerwitz. Hannah Kelly. Miranda Muñoz. Paola Alvarez. Serena Cervantes. Jacqueline Lamoose. Mia Muñoz. Dana Hidrogo. Quetzal Torren. Jada Belize. Anna Hover. And Victoria Sola. We also have our head coach, Coach Patrick Arning.
The 2017 Mac High girls soccer team is a very special group. They have worked hard, spent long hours on their skills, and dedicated many hours, including school breaks, to achieve the success they have had this year.
The team had an exceptional season with exceptional accomplishments. They won the Mac High Showcase, won the Brownsville Tournament, had an undefeated district championship season, and qualified for the regional tournament as regional semifinalists. The team had an overall season record of 29-3-1. Many school records were broken during the season, such as goals scored by a team record. They had 163. Goal difference was a plus 143. Goals per game was a 4.94. Winning percentage went up from 86% to 88% this year. And Anna Hover shattered the goals scored in a season by an individual with a total of 65 goals. The previous was 52. And Sofia Soto tied the freshman scoring record with 21 goals. Individual honors include Anna Hover, District 36A Most Valuable Player, Sofia Soto, District 36A Co-Offensive MVP, Miranda Muñoz, District 36A Defensive MVP, Jacqueline Lamoose, First Team All-District Defender, Hannah Kelly, Second Team All-District Defender, Emily Gerwitz, Honorable Mention All-District Defender, Dana Hidrogo and Weston Anderson, Second Team All-District Midfielder, Ava Lanise and Zoe Flores, Honorable Mention All-District Midfielder, Serena Cervantes, First Team All-District Forward, and Lexi Gonzalez, Second Team All-District Goalie. Congratulations.
The Lady Bulldogs would like to thank their principal, Mr. Canales, and all the McAllen administration and teachers and the Board of Trustees, Dr. Gonzalez, the McAllen ISD Athletic Department, particularly Coach Paula Gonzalez, and all of our wonderful girls soccer parents for their tremendous support of our students. Parents, please stand and be recognized at this time, and feel free to take a bunch of pictures too.
Big smiles, big smiles.
Awesome picture.
2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right, okay.
Athletic, beautiful, and smart.
No. We're good team. Excellent.
Good job, man. Thank you so much.
Outstanding. Again, this is a recognition of the McAllen High School girls soccer team. Very well done. Congratulations. At this time, I'm recessing at 6:15. The 5 o'clock meeting of the Board of Trustees. I'm just going to recess. And then I'm convening the special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, which is held for public comment on Monday, April the 24th, 2017, which is to begin at 6:15 here in the boardroom. I'm recessing that meeting at this time, which is now at 6:16. So we open the 6:15 meeting, public comment, and are now recessing that at this time at 6:16. I'm now reconvening the 5 o'clock meeting of the Board of Trustees at 6:16, and we'll now proceed to item 6C. This is a recognition of the McAllen Memorial High School girls varsity soccer team. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The McAllen Memorial Girls Soccer Team proved that motivation and dedication pay off. They pulled together an awesome season. Dr. Beretta and Coach Paula Gonzalez will announce our champions.
We're super excited about our introductions. We start off with Faye Calderon. Ana Santana. Victoria Tanguma. Carolina Guerrero. Bella Pichardo. Andrea Santana. Viviana Cruz. Georgina Hernandez. Mia Perez. Cristina Godinez. Emelyn Cardenas. Leilani Sanchez. And Ashante Lee. We have our head coach, Coach Matthew Kaiser. Assistant coaches, Efrain Chavez. Coach Ingrid Taylor. And our Memorial Girls Athletic Coordinator, Coach Lorena Lopez.
Come one down, ladies. One down.
All right, we're going to make room.
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
I'm sorry, y'all are fine right there.
a little bit about this year.
You say you want them to come down one, or are you good there?
No, that's fine right there.
Okay.
Room
The-
for the board behind them, or not really?
There's room.
All right.
Well, the Lady Mustang,
Sorry, he doesn't want to go. There we go. This is good, man.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
hold up, the Lady Mustang varsity soccer team finished third in the 30 district race this year and qualified for the UIL state playoffs once again. The team staged a come-from-behind upset of second-seeded South San Antonio High School to win their bi-district playoff game. In the area round of playoffs, the Lady Mustangs lost in penalty kicks to eventual regional qualifier Los Fresnos High School after coming from behind to tie the game in the second overtime period.
Special honors include All-District Offensive Player of the Year, Daisy Robles, First Team All-District. First Team All-District, we have Faye Calderon, Andrea Santana, Carolina Guerrero, and Victoria Tanguma. Second Team All-District, we have Ana Santana and Araceli Ramirez. Honorable mention, All-District, we have Cristina Godinez, Bella Pichardo, Georgina Hernandez, and Viviana Cruz.
A special thanks to our two seniors, Daisy Robles and Faye Calderon, for their hard work and dedication. As always, thanks to our families and our fans who continue to support. Parents, please stand and be recognized at this time and take a lot of pictures, too.
2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Don't move. Don't move.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, ladies.
Thank you, great job.
Congratulations.
Have a great one.
This one.
The crutches.
Yeah, she's got it.
Thank you, Coach.
Good job, Coach.
Again, that was a recognition of the McAllen Memorial High School girls varsity soccer team. Well done, ladies. Congratulations. We'll now proceed under 6D, recognition of the McAllen High School wrestling team. Dr. Gonzalez.
The Mac High wrestling team combined their mental and physical skills and qualified at the state level. And I now turn the floor over to Dr. Barrera and Coach Paula Gonzalez for the presentation.
Recognizing our wrestling team, we start off with Mark Peace. Diego Perez. Antonio Carranza. Jacob Cuellar. Serena Cervantes. Blythe Romero. And Dulce Torres. We have our head coach, Coach Hilaro Compian. Assistant coach, Gina Reed. Athletic coordinator from Mac High, Coach Kevin Brewer. And Albert Canales from Mac High.
Congratulations. Congratulations to the following wrestling athletes who earned the privilege and qualified to compete at the regional and state levels and represented McAllen High School and McAllen ISD with class and honor.
Over here. Thank you.
Wrestling is a very demanding sport, both mentally and physically, and the following athletes displayed great work ethic, effective time management, and respect for their peers, teammates, teachers, and coaches. We are sincerely proud of all of our athletes.
Some of the achievements for this year include Mark Pease, 5th place and regional alternate. Diego Perez, 3rd place in district and regional qualifier. Antonio Carranza, 4th place in district and regional qualifier. Jacob Cuellar, district champion and regional qualifier. Serena Cervantes, 2nd place in district, 3rd place in regionals, and 4th place in state. Dulce Torres, 4th place in district and regional qualifier. Blythe Romero had a 100th victory achievement this season, was the district champion, 2nd place at regionals, and 6th place at state. Congratulations.
We are very proud of how far our athletes advanced and how well they conducted themselves. We wish the seniors the absolute best in their future endeavors, for they helped set the standard for the younger athletes to strive for. We also thank all the wrestling athletes for their dedication and contributions to this amazing team. Parents, please stand up and be recognized, and please take some pictures too.
One, two, three. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations. Great job. Good job, Coach. Good job, Coach.
Again, this is a recognition of the McAllen High School wrestling team. Outstanding, very much. Thank you, parents. Thank you so much for your contributions and support.
Appreciate it.
6:20, but I recessed at 6:16. Yeah, I opened at 6:15 and recessed. We'll now proceed to the recognition of the James Nicky Rowe High School wrestlers. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Discipline and talent best describes the James Nicky Rowe wrestling team. This crew worked their way to the state meet. Dr. Barrera and Coach Paula Gonzalez will bring out the champions.
We start off our introductions with Damiana Molina. Alejandra Hernandez. Corina Chavez. Leo Villegas. Piri Lozano. Miguel Treviño. Tally Cano. Omar Anguianaga. John Ariola. Our head coach, Coach Arlan Garza. Athletic coordinator, Coach Raul Vega. And our principal of Nicky Rowe High School, Ms. Monica Kaufman.
Rowe Warriors Nation is proud to present the 2016-17 wrestling state and regional qualifiers. The wrestling team has come off another successful season with much to be proud of. They have truly embraced a team concept, rallying together to forge an unforgettable season.
Pro wrestling program had 10 regional qualifiers, tied with the most qualifiers in the district, and 1 state qualifier in Junior Alejandra Hernandez. With only 2 varsity wrestlers returning from last season, this team really did defy the odds and surpass expectations, which is a testament to all the hard work the coaches and athletes have committed to.
We would like to thank everyone at McAllen ISD as well as the Row Warrior Nation for their continued support and wish these student athletes all the best in their future endeavors. Parents, please stand and be recognized at this time.
One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Parents,
Come up and take a picture.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Outstanding. Again, that was a recognition of the James Nicky Rowe High School wrestlers. Very well done. Congratulations. And to the parents, thank you for your continued support. We'll now proceed to item 6F. This is recognition of the McAllen High School power lifter, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Congratulations to the McAllen High School powerlifting team for their efforts in going above and beyond the call of duty and bringing home top honors. Very proud of them. Coach Paula Gonzalez, please announce our champions.
We're here to recognize Jaslyn Olivares. With her, we have head coach Daniel Rodriguez. And our athletic coordinator, Coach Kevin Brewer.
Senior Jocelyn Olivares quickly became a leader on the powerlifting team. Her great work ethic and leadership in the weight room and classroom earned her the role of captain her senior year. All of this hard work translated into a very successful senior year for her as she earned multiple honors throughout the season.
Jaslyn is a Texas High School Women's Powerlifting Association regional qualifier who lifted a total of 785 pounds. She is also a state qualifier who lifted a total of 825 pounds. Overall, Jaslyn finished 7th in the state with total lifts of 840 pounds. Congratulations to Jaslyn on her great accomplishments this year.
And a special thanks to Jocelyn's family for all their support and encouragement over the past 2 years. Good luck to Jocelyn as she begins her college in the fall and continues to work hard to achieve her goals. Will the parents of Jocelyn please stand and be recognized? And her brothers and sisters.
1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
One more. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Excellent.
Hold up. See you, Mom. More. There you go. Outstanding. Congratulations.
Thank you. You're a trooper. Good.
That's a lot of weight there. Outstanding.
One more.
Now proceed to 6G. Oh, we did that one, right?
Yes, 16.
6H.
Yes, sir.
National Physical Education Sport.
6G, Mike?
Yes, sir.
6G, this is again, recognition of the James Nicky Rowe High School powerlifters, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This group put the power in powerlifting. The James Nicky Rowe powerlifters had an impressive season. Dr. Beretta and Coach Paula Gonzalez will continue with the presentation.
Tonight we're here to recognize our Nicky Rowe powerlifters. Start off, we have Michael Vega. And Acosta. Powerlifting head coach, Coach Bridge Gonzalez. Row girls athletic coordinator, Coach Raul Vega. And principal of Row High School, Ms. Monica Kaufman.
Congratulations to the James Dickey Rowe High School powerlifters. Senior Michael Vega is a two-time regional championship qualifier and the first male warrior to qualify for the state championship in school history. Senior Priscilla Acosta is the first lady warrior to qualify for the regional championship and also the first to qualify for a state championship.
Priscilla's achievements include 370 pounds in the squat, 170 pounds in the bench press, and 315 pounds in the deadlift to finish 10th in the state of Texas. She owns all individual meet awards in 3 different weight classes, accounting for 25% of records at Rowe High School. Michael Vega placed 5th at the Region 5 Championships, earning Rowe's first regional medal in any weight class. He was the first powerlifter at Rowe to qualify for the regional championships as he competed in 2016 and 2017. His achievements include 685 pounds in the squat, 485 pounds in the bench press, and 510 pounds in the deadlift to finish 9th in the state of Texas. Congratulations.
A special thanks to Ruben Sines for helping out throughout the season. Good luck to Michael and Priscilla as they move forward into college and continue their hard work and achieve success. Congratulations. Parents, please stand and be recognized. Takes lots of pictures.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Awesome.
One more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take your water.
Again, this is a recognition of James Dickey Rowe High School powerlifters. Thank you, parents, for your continued support and for the community. Now proceed to 6H. This is a proclamation regarding the National Physical Education and Sports Week. This is May 1st through May 5th, 2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Our physical education programs are recognized at the state and national levels, and we're here tonight with a proclamation regarding National Education and Sports Week. We have Dr. Ibarra, who's going to introduce our PE coaches that are joining us tonight, and we have our board president, Sam Salivar Jr., who will read a proclamation. So we'll start with Dr. Ibarra introducing our guests.
Yes, thank you. We have several coaches representing our district tonight. We'll start with Jessica Flores from Roosevelt Elementary. Carrie Saffels from Milam Elementary. Eloisa Vela from De Leon Middle School. Andres Flores from Jackson Elementary. Nelson Aguilar from Wilson Elementary. Jenna Garcia from Cathy Middle School. Stephanie Granado from Morris Middle School. Eric Cisneros from Travis Middle School. Monica Villarreal from Brown Middle School and Brown Teacher of the Year. And Mr. Mario Reina, Health and Physical Education Coordinator. I would like to add that for the second year in a row, National Physical Education and Sports Week will be celebrated with 50 million strong by 2029 in activities in our district from May 1st through the 5th. McAllen ISD is committed to the Society of Health and Physical Educators, Shape America's 50 million strong by 2029 movement in an effort to educate our K through 12 students on the importance of a healthy lifestyle.
1, 2, 3.
Any parents?
Thank you.
Proclamation. This is the McAllen Independent School District proclamation, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas physical education teachers at the McAllen Independent School District are recognized nationally by the Let's Move Active Schools and the Alliance of Healthier Generation initiatives for their efforts to curb childhood obesity. Whereas physical education teachers help to produce physically literate students that will have the ability to move with confidence in a wide variety of physical activities in multiple environments that benefit the healthy development of the whole person. Whereas physical education teachers provide physical activity and knowledge to combat obesity in children, which can reduce the risk of developing heart disease, diabetes, and other common illnesses. Therefore, there is evidence that demonstrates the positive correlation between a physical fit student and academic scores, attendance rates, and behavior. Now, therefore, I, Sam Saldiva Jr., member of the Board of Trustees, McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim that the week of May 1st to the 5th, 2017, to be observed as National Physical Education and Sports Week. Resolved that the SHAPE America's National Physical Education and Sports Week calls attention to the value of physical education and physical activity in the lives of children and adults. It also serves as a kickoff to National Physical Fitness and Sports Month, sponsored by the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports and Nutrition. I call upon all to support our physical education teachers here at McAllen ISD. In witness thereof, I thereby set my hand and seal to be caused on the McAllen Independent School District proclamation to be affixed on this 24th day of April 2017, and it's attested by a Secretary of the Board of Trustees, Trustee Forina of the McAllen Independent School District. Thank you very much for each and everything you do on behalf of our children. We've seen tremendous progress since we brought this program to our school district at all levels. And so we appreciate your continued support, your hard work, and your dedication to physical fitness for all people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Get out. Appreciate it.
That's it.
That's it.
What do you want to say? You want to turn around? Maybe we put in the same as possible. At this time, we're going to recess the 5 o'clock meeting of the Board of Trustees at 6:42 p.m. And we're going to reconvene the special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District on Monday, April 24, 2017. This is a 6:15 meeting. This is reserved for public comment. Which started at
Mr. President, can you just stress again that we're not allowed to ask questions in case anyone's wondering why we're just quiet?
Okay. Under board policy and the establishment of public comment, as I read earlier, so the board encourages citizens to come forward and speak. But remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not already posted on the agenda. If an issue is mentioned, is listed on tonight's agenda, and there it is, as a report, the board may defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting, which is on that item that's scheduled later this evening. So that is the reason you do not see us asking questions or of each other, or of the audience, or of the superintendent during public comment. It is strictly reserved for the public in order to share your thoughts and feelings from your perspective. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other? Hearing none. As I was stating, this was the public comment, special meeting of the Board of Trustees, and it is now 7:13.
31, sir.
7:31, I'm sorry. 7:31. If there's no objections, the meeting is now adjourned. Is there an objection? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 7:31. Thank you. We'll now reconvene the 5 o'clock meeting of the Board of Trustees at 7:31 p.m. It was recessed at 6:16 earlier. We'll now proceed to item 7, board members' committees and district reports. 7.1, which is instructional services briefing. The chair is Trustee Forina.
Thank you, President Saldivar. Fellow board members, today Dr. Ibarra and I met via conference call and discussed the different items that she was going to bring forward. First of all, being the recognition of the Wonder League Robotics State and International Champions. Good to see the STEAM program is coming to fruition, and especially the participants of the young ladies, showing that there is much room and they can still continue to manage themselves in that division. We have the proclamation regarding National Physical Education and Sport Week, that is May 1st through the 5th. That was read by President Saldivar. We'll have a report regarding the Advanced Academics Program, a report regarding the Family Treatment Program, a report regarding the Dual Language Program, and we are asked to approve the Interlocal Cooperation Contract number 2017-010 with the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley for the Texas Pre-Freshman Engineering Program. I will be recusing myself from that item, considering that I work for the university.
All right. At such time, you'll remind me so I can make
Yes,
an
sir.
announcement.
That is my report.
All right, sir. Thank you, Trustee Forina. We're on to 7.2, which is business operations briefing. The chair is Trustee Suarez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Trustee Vela and I met with Mrs. Garcia regarding four items that will be on the agenda, the first of which we already talked about, which was our budget workshop, report regarding tax collected, report regarding the monthly financials and investment reports, and approval of an interlocal agreement. And that's all for the report.
Thank you, Trustee Suarez. And that again was 7A2. Proceed to item 7A3, district operations briefing. The chair is Trustee Alvarado.
Thank you, Mr. President. The District Operations Policy Subcommittee met recently. We have 12 items. 6 of them we already witnessed their recognitions. Most of them today were our student athletes, either powerlifting or soccer, and you know, it's just a good opportunity for us to celebrate not only their excellence off the field, on the field, but off the field as well. So that was good for us to celebrate. We have 6 remaining agenda items, 3 reports, 3 are agenda items for board approval. 1 is approval of medical supplies for our campus clinics. The other is a second reading and approval policy update 107 from TASB. And the last item for our approval today is the Garza Elementary PTO has donated a shade canopy for the new playground area. So this is all I have for my report today, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Alvarado. We'll now proceed to 7A4, human resource briefing. The chair is Trustee Vela.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Farina and I met with Mr. Miller, and who else was in the meeting? Mr. Krauts was in the meeting. We'll be bringing forth 7 items this evening, HR recommendations for 2017-18 employee resignations. We'll be bringing forth an item that concerns the superintendent's recommendation concerning the renewal of 2016-17 employee contracts of teachers and other professionals for the upcoming school year. We're bringing forth the name for the approval of an assistant principal at Andrew Jackson Elementary School. We're also bringing forth the name of a new director of payroll due to the resignation of the previous one. We're also bringing forth an interesting report, and that is the biweekly versus the monthly payroll report of the employees that we went back, that we changed, and the results of that survey are pretty interesting, and I guess it confirms that it's probably a good thing for these employees. And we're also bringing forth a report regarding the student recruitment initiatives for the 2016-2017 school year. Those are the 7 items we'll be bringing forth this evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Vela. We'll now proceed to 7B. These are district reports. 7B1, report regarding advanced academics programs. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. McAllen ISD Advanced Academics Program serves students through gifted and talented services, advanced placement programs, the IB program, and dual credit. This is an update of the program for the 2016-2017 school year and initiatives planned for the 2017-2018 school year. Dr. Ibarra and Karen Nitch will provide an update on advanced academics, and this item is for information only. Dr. Ibarra?
Yes, thank you. I have a presentation that I'd like to share with you, and okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and get started with the Gifted and Talented program. The state provides a guide to all districts on the 5 components of gifted and talented education, and here you have a copy of this guide. And it's very important that we ensure that we comply with the 5 components, which is our student assessment, service design, curriculum and instruction, professional development, and family and community involvement. Moving on to the advanced academic program in our district, we have quite a few number of teachers that and employees that are part of the advanced academic program. At the elementary level, we have 194 teachers that serve GT and advanced learners. At the middle school level, we have 173 teachers. The high school level, 155. And in addition, we have at the district level a director of advanced academics, and of course, Ms. Nitch is sitting here with me, an elementary strategist, Leanne Castellanos. Secondary strategist, Susan Garcia, and we have a secretary for the department, Linda Olsen, a bookkeeper, Velma Gonzalez, and our GT testing clerk, Meralda Gonzalez. The priorities of the advanced academic program are to prepare students for university, college, military, career, and also to serve gifted and talented students. And we do this by providing high-quality training and support in GT, AP, IB, and dual training for our teachers. We also support a rigorous academic program in the 4 core areas, English, language arts, math, science, and social studies through AP, IB, and dual. And then finally, we provide social and emotional support for students as they access advanced curriculum through approaches to learning, emotional intelligence, clubs, activity, and academic UIL. In addition, the 4 program components, the Advanced Academics, center on gifted and talented and advanced learners. We also promote the testing of PSAT, SAT, and ACT at the high school and also at the middle school level. The Advanced Placement Program and International Baccalaureate Program, of course, are critical components of the Advanced Academics Program. And finally, our Dual Credit Program and Achieve Early College High School Program. And all of them, of course, have a focus on college readiness. On this chart, we have given you a breakdown of the percentage of students that are participating in advanced academics. So for instance, if you look at the total population in our district at the elementary level, in kinder through 5th grade, we have 10,126 students. And out of those students, 4,325 students are served through advanced academics classrooms. If we break it down even further, 33.7% of those students are served through clusters, regular students in advanced academics classrooms, and 9% of those students, or 909 students, are actually identified GT students. And then we also have students in all subgroups. So if we disaggregate the data further, our advanced academic students are GT and at risk, GT and ECODIS, GT LEP, GT Special Ed, and then they also participate in CTE at the middle school and high school level. And we have the breakdown also for the middle school and for the high school. So you can see at a glance that our advanced academic program is well diversified, and it's implemented at every level with both GT students and regular students. Moving on, at the advanced academic program components of the elementary are comprised of gifted and talented education and, of course, the IB program. At the middle school, we offer the gifted and talented program, pre-advanced placement, and, of course, IB. And then at the high school, we have a GT through advanced placement, a dual credit, and Achieve Early College High School, and then, of course, GT and IB. The continuum of services, beginning with the elementary GT program, focuses on depth and complexity, and then we move on to the middle school GT program, which we have the MYP program at the middle schools, and also the pre-AP program. At the high school level, in 9th through 12, we focus on the endorsements, providing students the opportunity to meet their endorsements and also gain their performance acknowledgments. At Achieve Early College High School, students work towards their associate's degrees and also to earn college dual credit hours. We, of course, offer the 5 STC academies. They lead to associate's degrees. This year, we added the UT on ramps at McAllen High School. In addition, we have the AP and AP capstone certificate or additional diploma, and finally our IB and IB certificate or additional diploma. The Texas Education Code reads that each school district shall implement a program under which students may earn the equivalent of at least 12 semester credit hours of college credit in high school. On request, a public institution of higher education in the state shall assist a school district in developing and implementing the program. The college credit may be earned through International Baccalaureate, Advanced Placement, or dual credit courses. So as long as we have options, it can be any of the 3 programs or all 3. Articulated post-secondary courses provided for local credit, or articulated post-secondary advanced technical credit courses provided for state credit, or any combination of the courses described by subdivisions 1 and 2. Moving forward, if we look at our advanced placement program, at a glance, you can see that the program is very successful. It has increased. If you look, for instance, at 2016, we offered 27 exams, AP exams. Out of 1,932 students took an AP exam, and you can see that for 2017, currently we have 2,136 students who have registered for an exam. The number of AP exams totaling in 2016 is 3,678, and for 2017 is 3,875. The qualifying scores, this means that students earn either a 3, 4, or 5. In 2016 was 1,146, and of course the students haven't tested, so we'll give you that information once we receive the scores.
If I may, real quickly.
Yes, sir, Trustee Esparza.
On that 2016, that 1146 number where it says qualifying score, what you're saying there is those kids will get college credit?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
1,146 kids will get college credit?
1,146, yes. 1,146 scores. It could be some students may receive 2 or 3. So this is just qualifying scores.
Qualifying scores.
781 students. It was 781 individual students.
Okay.
If I may.
Trustee Vela.
Thank you. Dr. Ibarra, then just a point for clarification to follow up on Mr. Esparza's. The 1,932 students, or the number you have there, 1,932, is that total number of students, or that's total number of students that might have been enrolled in an AP class?
It's total. It's the total.
So 1,932 students took AP classes, whether it be one or all. Is that correct?
1,932 students tested. So we may have had, I would say, maybe 1,800 students actually in classes, because sometimes students will challenge a test.
You've got students not enrolled in AP or students enrolled at IB that also take the AP classes, right?
That's true.
That challenge the
correct,
exams.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Question. Trustee Suarez.
But you also have students taking AP that do not take the test, am I correct?
We try not to have
Right,
that.
but it does exist.
Sometimes.
I mean, it's not a
Rarely.
trick question, I just,
No, I know it's not a trick question, but the district's position on that is that when we have students in advanced courses, AP and IB, that they all test.
no doubt.
That's just a part of that, earning that 13 points, is to see it through to the very end.
Any other questions?
Is there a
Trustee
cost
Guerrero.
associated with a retest? Let's say you take a test and you want to challenge it again. Does the student have to pay at that point, or are we still paying for it?
We pay for the retest as long as students have come in for tutoring, or, they've been coming to the prep sessions that we have after school, but we do support the retesting, and that really only happens with usually the English, the AP English, so they'll have scored a 2 on their junior level test, and so they'll sit in the senior class, and then they'll come in and retest.
Is there an option for parents to pay for it on their own if their child does not make it to a study session, or, there's a lot of times they're involved in so many different things and they can't always make it. So can a parent pay for it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. My daughter said I couldn't.
Always call us, 618-6059.
Any other questions from the board? On this chart, and this is something we've been discussing actually the last couple of years, and that is, once again, we're moving between how many are enrolled and how many are taking, and then the total. We've asked that we want to differentiate, and I appreciate the answer tonight, to now know of the number that took, how many were actual students. So again, if we could clarify this chart to only talk about students, if you want to talk about something else, because what we heard a moment ago, AP students is that column, and then it says AP exams is the total exams, but what we want to know is a continuum of how many are in the classes, how many took the test, and how many succeeded. You follow me? If you want to add that AP exams as a number, then I think you have to quantify that, or put a quantifier there that this is all tests, not just students. You follow me? And so we really need to know, what the question that was asked earlier, to follow this line, is how many of these 3,678 exams were actual students.
Okay.
In the future, if you
said
would.
781, didn't you?
Well, we had 781 individual students scoring at least a qualifying score on one or more exams.
I perfectly understand, but when you look at this chart, again, AP students, it was stated, and it states here, for 2016 was 1,932. The next line talks about all exams that were taken, right? But what we want to know was a question asked by Trustee Esparza, which how many of the 3,678 in 2016 were actual students?
So I can give you that. That's an easy answer. So if you think about at Lamar Academy, you had 131 DP students, and let's say that each of those DP students sat in one AP class at Lamar Academy. I think that we're pretty close to 1,932. Maybe you might have had like 50 challengers that sat in no AP classes, but rarely do we have that many individual students not sitting in at least one class.
Dr. Gonzalez, could you please, I think the board has asked for this in the past, if we could have that differentiated
Yes, sir.
number.
We'll make sure to differentiate how many students were in the class, how many actually took the test, and how many were successful.
Yes.
Please, thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll give you an updated information.
If you would.
Yes, sir.
Trustee
Karen, I
Esparza.
have a real quick question. On that qualifying score, is it 3 or better?
Three, 4, or 5.
Is that at all universities, public universities in Texas?
Each university.
Because I had a parent tell me some are looking at a 4 or better on certain tests. So is it 3 across the board on all the tests?
Each university is different. Okay. So you have tiered universities. You have your top, your Tier 1 schools, Tier 2, Tier 3. So depending on the university, sometimes they'll, let's say, give you 12 college credit hours for a 4 in AP Spanish language, but maybe another university might only give you 6 hours for a 4 on AP Spanish language. So it really depends on the individual university, and each university has their own policy, and that is and all any parent needs to do is just research at their university what the AP course credit policy is, and usually there's a list by course of what they offer.
But pretty much a 3 or better will get you some credit?
Something, yes.
Okay.
Now, and I really want to just always talk to parents and to the board about this. If students are thinking about going to graduate school, after university, many of the graduate schools or even like nursing programs, medical programs, pre-vet programs, pre-dental programs, they advise you not they advise you to come in with all the AP courses that you can, because everybody competitively comes in with those courses. But then they ask you not to claim them, because those programs really do want you to take their coursework that prepares them for the MCAT or for the LSAT or for whatever exam these students are going to be taking when they graduate from college.
Just to clarify, when you say not claiming, so the student has the option of it not showing up in your transcript?
Yes. When you take a dual enrollment course, it does show up on a transcript. And so that does start counting towards your 150 college credit hours for financial aid.
Right. So as a parent, you want to have that discussion with your child in their junior year?
Really, to be competitive, kids should be taking as many AP courses and that they can, and testing. So as they're going to move into college, what you really want to look at is when they're enrolling in college and they're going to claim those credits. That's when you really want to start studying what the requirements are.
Okay, that's what I was asking. I didn't ask it well. Thank you.
Okay, let me go ahead and move on. So taking a closer look at the AP scorecard for 217. Again, we had 1,932 students who participated in AP. They took a total of 3,678 AP exams. We had 1,146 qualifying scores, and that equates to 781 students who actually earned qualifying scores in one or two subjects in AP. 172 students earned 3 or more qualifying scores, which qualifies them to be considered AP scholars. And then we had 38 students who earned 4 or more qualifying scores, which qualifies them to be AP scholars with honors and distinction. The potential college credit hours is total 6,046 credit hours. That's just a closer look at the AP program.
And I think this goes back to Mrs. Nish's comments earlier. This slide actually is what we've been asking for, so this is perfect. So good, thank you. Yeah, this is it.
This is what you wanted, okay.
Yes, we're there.
Because to hand count the individual students, right. I mean, we're pretty much at 1932, probably, I would say, maybe a little bit less than 1,900 individual students taking AP classes, but this is the breakdown.
Exactly, and the whole idea is we've been wanting to track this increase, because when back in 2009, we were at 30% of the population that qualified for it, and our goal was 1% increment increase, and I think at that time, the board felt we need to go as fast and as high as we can. And I think I can get to that slide. I don't want to preempt it, but it's a lot better than it was 7 years ago. So thank you. Go ahead.
Moving on to our DP program. Again, you have the breakdown there for the past 5 years. So if we take a look at 2016, we had, again, 131 students who participated in the diploma program. This year, we have 153 students. This number of exams that were taken, both exams and essays, in 2016 was 575. This year is 633. In 2016, 432 scores were qualified with a 3 or better, and then this year, of course, we're still pending. So once again, if we take a closer look at this program with 131 students participating, 432 students, 432 subject exams, and 432 received qualifying scores. 143 students submitted 4,000 word extended essays or theory of knowledge essays. And of these students, 58 earned diplomas, and this is again in 2016. We had a 98.3 diploma completion rate at IB. As we know, they earned that distinction, that very prestigious distinction from the IB organization. And this is a potential college hours earned, 1,770. Here we're looking at the return of our investment. If we have over 2,000 students who participate in either AP or IB, and of course, that means that we had a potential college credit hours of 7,816. This is for 2016. Now, if we take the tuition cost at UTRGV, if we take those 7,816 hours and multiply it by 310, that's a savings to parents of $2,422,960. So that's considerable. However, if we take those same hours and we multiply it by the average tuition cost in Texas, as per the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, that's 1,123. That amount equates to $8,777,368. So that's the range. I mean, of course, it varies depending on whether students, what university they select, but this is the minimum, and then, of course, to the maximum. So this is just to give you an idea of the savings that we're passing on to our parents.
Did you give us that chart? No.
It's different from what's in our
We
packet.
made a few changes, yes. Ms. Nitsch and I were working on it over the weekend, and we did some recalculations, so there are some differences. But we did upload it to SharePoint this afternoon.
You did? Okay. And if
Yes.
you could also provide it to the
I haven't
candidates
done
for
that, but
school.
I will do that, yes.
Quick
Okay,
question.
moving.
Yes, sir, Trustee.
Quick question. So, Dr. Barra, can you give us a distribution by campus on these AP scores? 'Cause I know they give it to us in the past,
Yes,
by high school.
yes, we can do that. By high school. Yes, sir, we'll bring you that information back.
Thank you.
Okay, so if we move on to our dual enrollment program, once again, you have the breakdown there by year, by fall and spring of each of the years. And if you notice, in 2016, or the fall of 2016, we did have a total enrollment of 8,288 courses or students, that number of courses that we earned. But in the spring of 2016, this should be 2017. Oh, correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
27.
In the spring, currently, we are decreasing somewhat. And I'd like to invite Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos to also share some information. We are going to see a decrease from now on because there have been some changes to the dual enrollment entrance requirements, and so that's going to impact our enrollment. And so Dr. de Hoyos went to a meeting last week with the STC staff, and so she's here to just to elaborate as to why we're seeing a decline in our dual enrollment program.
Even though the numbers are not too drastic, but some of the changes were that the college entrance TSI exam, the requirements were now more strict. Where before you could enroll in a COSC class, a computer course, without just attempting the TSI exam. Now you have to pass the reading section, and in some of these electives that are still considered electives, you even have to pass the reading and the writing at the same time. So the colleges becoming more strict as it comes to dual enrollment classes. And then in this last meeting that we attended, we were told that students in dual enrollment in the comprehensive schools would only be limited to take the core subject curriculum. Only the early college students will be allowed to take the associates, which is not necessarily only core, but also continuing on to an associate's degree. So looking at that, we might see some decrease on that, where before, any dual enrollment student could take any course to probably work towards an associate's, not necessarily finish it, but now it's going to be limited to only core curriculum.
So as to understand it, we're going to see less students actually completing an associate's degree as a result, or how would that work for them to achieve that?
The history for McAllen, the students that were finishing the associates were the academy kids.
Yes.
And the early college students.
Right.
It was a goal of ours to increase associates in the comprehensive schools, but we are now limited to only offer core curriculum for dual enrollment students unless they're early college students or academy students.
So there are some school districts that have their Achieve Early College High School program in their comprehensive schools.
A school within a school or
Exactly.
school-wide.
And so their students can come and go within the program and are therefore able to, as one of our students mentioned, compete. So how would this be a factor, and has this been taken into account as we go forward for these students that are now at the comprehensive school, not the Achieve Early College School, or at the Lamar Academy, and be able to compete, especially in their ranking, which is a big concern?
And this is just my opinion, I haven't discussed it with anyone, but...
And it's okay if we're not ready to say anything. I'm just, if we need to discuss it at the administration level, we're fine with that. I just want to know, where are we in discussing that at the administrative level? Really,
Well, I will add that the one requirement that we knew that was changing was TSI. We know that the scores had increased, that our students needed to get higher scores in order to participate, and so we've been working diligently to put a plan together so that more students are TSI complete, so that we don't limit our students because they don't have, like Dr. Delos mentioned in the past, as long as you attempted the test, you were allowed to enroll, and now you have to actually have the requirements. So the ladies are putting a plan together that we're going to roll out to the high schools. We haven't discussed it with them yet. We're going to be sharing it with the LT. Tomorrow we'll be sharing it with the LT, and there's phases to hopefully we increase the number of students that will be able to participate through TSI. And then the other consideration, of course, is that we do need to focus on offering more core courses and fewer electives, because that's what the STC is allowing us to do. So it's just a matter of tweaking it and making sure we offer more opportunities in the core courses and fewer opportunities in the electives, unfortunately, because we're not going to, if they're not allowing it, then we need to offer other courses and eliminate those that they no longer approve.
And the opinion that I was going to mention, my advice is that when we concentrate on core curriculum, the student can have less of a risk of classes not transferring, because core curriculum will be fitting into most bachelor's degree areas.
Since, we've had some comment, and we have discussed it at committee levels, it may be a good time to look at our board policy into the future, to making sure that these adjustments and our board policy gives every student that equitable opportunity. And if there's a way of figuring out a comprehensive student can interact with the Achieve and still get onto that campus without actually being in the Achieve program itself, if there's somehow that could be done through the Achieve Early College High School. Since in a normal program, that would have been on their comprehensive campus to begin with, in other districts.
And so what happens with the courses that are taken at the college is that when courses are taken at a university or college, they have to be transcripted at the university, and then we go through a process at the campuses alongside the dean of instruction and the counseling staff, and they validate those credits and crosswalk it to the extensive crosswalk that we put together to make sure that the courses are providing high school credit. But that doesn't happen, and that's a challenge for us to do. That doesn't happen until the courses are transcripted at the university. So that's an obstacle that we really need to work together with the university to find out how it is that we could close that gap, because of FERPA, when students are enrolled in the university, we don't have access to their transcripts, we don't have access to their grades, and the university has no requirement or responsibility to provide us with that. So it's clearly outlined to parents and community or the schools, but when you're going through that whole process, it's hard to deal with that when you're actually in the midst of that and realizing the repercussions of not being able to transfer that credit in as you need it. So I think what's happened is the early college high school, the dual enrollment moved faster than our policy did, and we've really looked at that at our level, as well as how it is that we can make it better for everybody.
Yes, thank you, I'm glad to, but Dr. Gonzalez, I really think we need to come to some,
Yes, sir.
discussion and have some assistance from TASB and others too, and possibly legal to get to the point where we can remedy this as quickly as we can. Obviously, retrospective, it doesn't go back, and our policies don't, it's going to be forward, it's the only way. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. I know that I do want to commend the team because I know that we've been on this journey of being more equitable with our students. I know one example is Academy kids used to get 0 points for courses that were taught at STC. Now they're getting the 13 points, with the exception of the last semester that our student talked about today. But historically, I think that we've made some ground there, but there's a lot more work to be done ahead of us, and we'll definitely reach out to TASB and get more equity involved in our system.
Thank you.
If I may.
Trustee Vela.
Thank you. You were speaking about the modified requirements for the dual enrollment program. Is that an STC issue?
At this point, it's South Texas College, yes. UTRGV also, it's limited to only core curriculum, because with UTRGV, of course, if you wouldn't work on the core curriculum, you would be working on a bachelor's degree, and that's not a partnership or an agreement they have with any district.
So it's fair to say that STC moved up to the university level in terms of the requirements for the dual enrollment program?
They're following
suit?
the same guidelines now.
Okay, thank you.
One more quick question.
Mr.
So
Trustee.
you said you were going to increase or push more, I guess, at the high schools, the core as opposed to the electives, but that's not going to, you're not going to say, let's concentrate more at these and push aside AP.
No,
No.
not at all.
Okay.
No, again, there's a program for everyone. We have over 2,000 students at every high school, and there's a need for AP, there's a need for IB, and there's definitely a need for dual. So all programs are very successful, and that's what we want.
One at the expense of another.
No, not at all, not at all.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of the International Baccalaureate are taking AP classes as well.
Absolutely,
So they're getting a
yes.
boost from the diploma program, which they're going to get from state schools in addition to the AP as well. So whatever they score there. Right.
It was really unusual about 8 years ago to have a student that was in the IB program take an AP course. Like, we had one student, and I remember just thinking that child was a genius, and like we were so blessed to have this child in our district. But now, as we broke through that glass ceiling about 5 years ago, so many of our students have found that that's a passion. They love academics, and they want to just master everything that we put in front of them. And that is, we want to grow that. We want to continue to nurture that, because that's what makes our community strong, and that's what's attractive to our kids. So I found it very interesting that during the SACS accreditation at one of our high schools, during the interview, one of the students was asked, what more could we do for you? And they said, well, give us more rigorous courses. We really like the rigor. And so I'm really proud that we've been able to offer that to our community.
Excellent.
Another thing that I failed to mention on the decrease on the total number of hours is also that this year we were not able to offer the science classes with lab. And that's something that we do need to look at that. We didn't meet the requirements for SAC, and I got, you mentioned SAC right now, so I got reminded of that. South Texas College would not allow us to offer a 4-hour science course because of the labs requirement that they have in the contact time. The contact time for the schedule.
And for clarity, they wouldn't allow our students to utilize their labs, or they didn't have the labs that we needed to have credit for that course that we needed to take in order to get credit?
We didn't have the upgrades that, we didn't meet the requirements that they were posing certain requirements in our labs, and we didn't meet that requirement. So for that reason, we couldn't offer biology. So that was one course that we had to eliminate from the options. And so that, again, decrease the enrollment, because that was a popular class. But in order for us to upgrade the labs, it would have cost us $75,000 per lab.
And how many labs are we talking about?
Well, it's at each of the high schools, because one per high school. So it would be including the IB and Achieve.
Achieve uses,
Achieve, that's right, so it would be 4.
but the science courses, especially biology, is one of the core curriculums, so it is important for us to look into that.
All right, is that something, Dr. Gonzalez, you and your staff can look at and give some recommendation to the board of what options we may have?
Yes.
That's something you feel we need to do?
We'll meet as a team and cover all of our bases. Going back to Trustee Esparza's point on not taking one program at the expense of another, I do want to emphasize to the community that we're trying to build all of our programs, whether it be IB or dual enrollment, whether it be Achieve or the diploma year program or programs with the comprehensive high schools. We're really trying to give students choice. So we will absolutely not build one program at the expense of another. I thought that was a good point and something worth bringing up to the team and the community, that we want to build on all of our successes and programs.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, so if we take a closer look at our dual enrollment program, we have over 2,000 students that are participated in. Last year, this is 2016 data. In the fall, approximately the students earn approximately 9,663 credit hours. In the spring, 9,993 for a total of 19,656 credit hours. Tuition at STC is about $232 per hour, so that is a savings to the parents of $4,560,000 and $192. So that's quite a savings, and we're very proud of that we passed that savings on to our parents.
Very good.
That's different than what they gave us, right?
Any other questions from the board?
If I may.
Yes, Trustee Vela.
Just to be sure, that, and in all the programs you discussed in this report, Dr. Ibarra, it's safe to say that there are no discussions taking place or plans being made to change any of these programs in any significant way. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right, thank you.
Everything's staying as is.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good. Any other questions? Very good.
I did have
Yes.
one question. I know a while back, there was some discussion, and maybe it's been a long time, maybe when I was on the board previous, but on the AP, we don't have a junior high that feeds, or a junior high that's designated for AP. Is there any programs out there that have a junior high AP that feeds to high schools, or that offers that?
So there is pre-AP training for the teachers, and the teachers utilize the same strategies, similar strategies that build.
Right.
So
Right.
middle school to 9th and 10th, and then they go into the AP.
But is there a school, someone asked me, is there a school out there that's called a middle school, like we have an IB middle school? Is there a school out there that we could follow the same model and call it an AP middle school?
We can always do that. It would be a GT pre-AP magnet.
I'm just asking to see if, because a lot of our students go that way, but I understand what you're saying, that our teachers are already trained in AP, so they're preparing our students as it is. That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Dr. Ibarra, does this conclude your presentation?
Just two more
of your team?
slides. I'll go very, very, very quickly.
No.
I just want to finish with sharing with you, of course, that our advanced academic program has received many accolades, many recognitions. The Washington Post recognized all of our high schools as America's most challenging high schools from 2009 to 2016. That was recognized by Newsweek and then by the Washington Post. The U.S. News and World Report, America's Best High School, Lamar Academy in 2015, number 9 in the nation, number 4 in Texas, and then of course in 2015 our Achieve Early College was received the bronze category for America's Best High Schools. The U.S. Department of Education recognized our Achieve Early College as a National Blue Ribbon School in 2015, and then most recently, of course, we had our Lamar Academy IB recognized by the International Baccalaureate Organization as a school of distinction. So again, we're very proud of all the accomplishments through advanced academics. And then finally, moving forward in 2017-2018, at the elementary and middle school level, there will be more targeted support for underrepresented populations and campuses, more enhanced focus on Texas Performance Standards projects, including the independent investigation projects in K through 8th, GT reading strategist training for teachers at the elementary in GT reading strategies, and the formation of an advanced academic advisory council and support for participation in academic competition at the high school. Similarly, targeted support for underrepresented populations and campuses, emphasis on the Texas Performance Standards Project. We are promoting the AP Capstone Diploma at all comprehensive high schools, increasing the enrollment in the UT on-ramps courses at all comprehensive high schools. We are considering the addition of AP Psychology, AP Computer Science, and AP European History, as well as forming an Advanced Academic Advisory Council, targeted support and recruitment in academic UIL competition, and again, continued AP and IB support to teachers and students, and AP lead teachers support AP collaboration and calibration. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you,
I just want to say one last thing. We'll be bringing to the board at the next board meeting, the UT on-ramps to include Rowe High School and Memorial High School with a course.
This is UTRGV? That's when you...
This is University of Texas.
UT Austin.
UT Austin,
Yes.
okay, the
Yes.
on-ramps, I got you, okay. Very good. Thank you. And with that,
Mr. President, I'd like to entertain a motion to reorganize the agenda to bring forth item 9C3, approval of the shade canopy project donation for the playground area at Garza Elementary.
Second. It's been moved by and seconded by Trustee Florina and seconded by Trustee Suarez to reorganize the agenda to now take into account item 9C3. This requires a two-thirds vote of those present. This is a motion is to reorganize the agenda to move 9C3 at this time. Proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item will be reorganized and will be heard now. We'll now proceed to item 9C3, approval of the shade canopy project donation for the playground area at 466 Reynaldo G. Elementary from Reynaldo G. Garza Elementary PTO. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. For 2 years, the Reynaldo Garza Elementary PTO has been about planning and raising money for a shade canopy for their new playground area. And this evening, we bring the PTO's project donation for approval. Dr. Barrera has more details. We are requesting action on this item.
Thank you.
Dr. Barrera.
Yes, sir. This is in accordance with policy CDC local. The board may accept a gift on behalf of the district. All gifts shall be given to the district, and then the discretion of the superintendent, the gift may be used as a specific program or campus. In this case, the Reynaldo G. Garza Elementary PTO, and we have representatives here this evening, has raised the funds in the amount of $7,500 to purchase and install the shade canopy for the playground area there at the elementary school. The canopy project plan is in its second year. This year, the phase 2 is the implementation phase. It's well underway. FMNO is overseeing the project in cooperation with the contractor, and the contractors agreed to comply with all of our district specs and/or requirements. I have attached a CDC exhibit form and a rendering of the project is also attached for your review.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. It's been moved by Trustee Alvarado, seconded by Trustee Suarez. Any discussion?
Mr. Vela, third.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
This is a no-brainer.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0. Motion
Mr.
carries.
President, I'd like to make a motion to move item B3 to the next item on the agenda.
90.
Report regarding dual language program.
Okay, instead of report regarding family treatment program? Okay. So we have a motion by Trustee Alvarado. And before we go on, thank you to the PTO at Garza Elementary for their donation. Really appreciate that effort. So thank you very much. Let's see if they are. Appreciate it. And thank you. I'm sorry for the late hour. Thanks for staying to the time.
Somebody's got to be on the hike and bike trail at 5 tomorrow morning, so.
And under point of order, the chair now clarifies that there was a motion to reorganize the agenda to now take item 7B3 Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Farina. It requires a two-thirds vote of all present. All in favor signify saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0. The items now reorganize the agenda to now take into consideration item 7B3. This is report regarding dual language program. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Currently, elementary campuses offer both the dual language and an early exit bilingual model. Dr. Ibarra and Angie Martinez will provide an update on our dual language program, and this item is for information only. Dr. Ibarra?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and begin with Chapter 89 of the Texas Education Code, and that the Chapter 89 requires that all districts implement a bilingual education program. They give us 4 options, and you can see the options there: transitional early exit, transitional late exit, dual language one-way, or dual language two-way. The goal of the bilingual education program, regardless of the program model, shall be to enable English language learners to become competent in listening, speaking, reading, and writing in the English language through the development of literacy and academic skills in the primary language and English. Such programs shall emphasize the mastery of English language skills, as well as mathematics, science, social studies as integral parts of the academic goals for all students to enable English language learners to participate equitably in school. Dual language immersion is an education approach in which students learn 2 languages in an instructional setting that integrates subject content presented in English and another language. Models vary depending on the amount of each language used for instruction at each grade level. The program must be based on instruction that adds to the student's first language, and the implementation of a dual language immersion program model is optional. So here, at a glance, we are sharing with you the time and treatment for a transitional bilingual early exit and a dual language enrichment program. And this is a second grade model, so Ms. Angie Martinez will share the differences.
Good evening to all.
Good evening.
So basically, the one that we have to the left, that's the program model that we've been implementing for, I don't know, the past maybe 10 years or so. The one to the right is the one that initiated 4 years ago, and that was the dual language model. If you notice, what is highlighted in green is what's taught in Spanish, what's highlighted in blue is what's taught in English. To your left-hand side, the students in an early transition, like Dr. Ibarra mentioned, the goal is for them to acquire the English language as quickly as possible, for them to exit the bilingual program. As based on Chapter 89, the goal is for them to exit the program not earlier than first grade, but not later than third grade. So if you notice there, at the end of every year, campuses are to test their students with a proficiency language test, depending on the grade level. To the left, you'll see that that's for pre-K and K. So students who are tested at the end of the year with a language proficiency test, in this case, pre-K would be pre-LOS, kinder would be LOS links. If they score within a 1 and a 2, then the child is classified as a beginner. A 3, child is classified intermediate. 4 and 5, child is classified as an advanced. Based on that, the LPAC, which is the committee that convenes at the end of the year, beginning, middle, and end of the year, makes a decision as to where to place the student. If we are following a transitional early exit, then the student, for instance, a beginner, let's say second grade, would be receiving Spanish language arts. They would move on to receiving math. Half of the instruction, whether it be by 6 weeks or whether it be by semester, would be in Spanish, and the other half would be in English. Social studies would be completely in Spanish, and science would follow the same program type as a math would, half in one semester, half second semester. Intermediate students, you begin to see more of the English being introduced, and so you're able to see where the language arts, depending if they're intermediate beginners, they'll receive Spanish language arts. If they're intermediate advanced, they'll start off with English language arts. Now, if it's an advanced student, they basically carry their curriculum completely in English with only the Spanish language development, which is to maintain that literacy in their native language. But really, again, the emphasis in this program is for the student to acquire the English language proficiency. This program, again, is for our limited English proficient students. Now, over to the right-hand side, you see the dual language enrichment model. Now, this one is pretty cut and dry. If you're an ELL, which is an English language learner, or if you're a non-ELL, a regular student whose primary language is English, you will receive basically the same instruction from year to year. Students will have math consistently taught in English. The model that we follow is the Gomez and Gomez. So they will have that taught consistently from pre-K through 5th grade, completely in English. They'll have their science and social studies in Spanish, and their language arts beginning in 2nd grade. They carry 2 language arts blocks. 1 language art in English, 1 language arts in Spanish. So the students do receive both languages side to side throughout their elementary education. I know it's a little complicated, it's a lot of information, but the teachers have been implementing, if I may add, the teachers have been implementing the transitional early exit model, like I said, for the past 10 years. As the cohorts began moving up into the upper grades, is that teachers started implementing the dual language model as to phase out the early exit. The teachers are fairly familiar with the early exit.
But for clarity, as they move up, it's within the elementary school. It's not into the middle school or the high schools. There is no dual language at middle
Not at
school.
this time. We haven't reached that cohort.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So if we move on, here we're, in this graphic, we want to show you the various cohorts. Dual language was implemented 4 years ago for the first time with 5 schools. And so those schools had the option of starting the program in pre-K, pre-K kinder, or pre-K kinder and first. So depending on the school, some chose to implement pre-K through first, some schools chose to implement it only in pre-K kinder, and so forth. So those campuses that began the first cohort should be at about the 4th grade level. That's the bottom set of arrows there. And then the following year, then we began another cohort. We added another 5 schools, and so then at that point, again, those campuses were given the option of implementing in pre-K kinder or pre-K kinder first. And so those campuses would be cohort 2, would be at 3rd grade level at this time. Some at 2nd, some at 3rd grade. Then the following year, we added more schools and so forth. So you can see there the breakdown. So even though dual language has been in place for 4 years, it was started in phases. So first phase 1, a number of schools, phase 2, then we added another number of schools. And so now this year, all 20 schools are implementing dual language at 1 grade level or 2 more grade levels, again, depending. Every school is a little bit different. Okay, so but that's moving forward into 2017-2018. This is the proposal. 15 schools will revert back to transitional early exit, and 5 schools will continue with dual language enrichment program. Now, I know that the question has been why the change, why the shift at this time, and so we want to share with you the rationale. So as we began the year and we met with the principals, we did our walkthroughs, and I mean, meaning the administration, of course, Ms. Angie Martinez as the bilingual directors. The elementary campus principals shared that they were experiencing challenges with the implementation of the dual language program, and they requested permission to revert back to early exit. And so they shared their concerns. Of course, we listened to them. We took their concerns into consideration. The goal of this is that we always want to support our campus principals. We know that they have a lot of, so many things, of course, a lot of pressure, STAR and so forth. And so obviously we want to take their concerns into consideration. And so some of the challenges that they were experiencing, for example, was scheduling and balancing of classes in the upper grades. What was happening in dual language classrooms in 3rd grade and up, is that students were starting to exit, the parents were starting to move their students, and so then they had balanced classes where dual language classrooms had 13, 14 students, and regular English classrooms now had 22, 23, 24, even 27, 28 students. So that was the challenge, and so they said, we don't have balanced classrooms, and that creates conflict among the teachers, but also, we want to make sure that we're, and these are, in many cases, were one-way classrooms where you have predominantly Spanish-speaking students. In the schools where you can have two-way, sometimes the concern was that you didn't have enough parents who were requesting dual language, because in order for dual language to be successful, you have to have pairs. You have to have your English speakers and your Spanish speakers, and you have to pair them, and that's really a two-way dual language. So again, they were seeing that in third and fourth grade, they didn't have enough numbers. So maybe they had only 7 students, for instance, and 7 parents requesting dual language, and so that wasn't enough to make a class. And so challenging scheduling and having balanced classroom was one very real concern that they were expressing. And so they said, we're going to have to close the class. It's not going to make because we don't have enough students. Another concern that they were sharing was there was insufficient time to implement the dual language program with fidelity due to the program requirements. So in dual language, it's very clear-cut, as Ms. Martinez said. It's not implemented based on a time and treatment based on the language proficiency of the student. It's implemented to the T based on the model. So all students, whether they're English or Spanish, and I'll just very, very quickly go back to that here on the right, they're going to get the same time and treatment regardless of their proficiency level. So that presents challenges for the teachers also, because many times the students may need more support, especially in third and fourth, for start preparation, or simply because they have gaps, and so they have to spend a little bit more time on one language or the other. So that's when they start to deviate a little bit away from the model.
Excuse me, Dr. Evara, trustee
Yes, sir.
has a question.
I apologize.
I just have a question, just because you were going through the transition period. The first question I have is when we were at the 15 schools,
20 schools.
or 20 schools, you have the data that shows that the participation rate was diminishing or was low?
When it was at the 20 schools, or this year, it's been at the 20 schools. Yes, we have the data to show that it's been diminishing.
So my next question is, so we have it at these 20 schools, and I think this was part of the argument with another program that we had, is that we have it and we invest the money and the time into doing a program, and this is, this has happened for years past. So what happens in 6th grade? Is there anything out there for them?
What happens in 6th grade is that students transition into an ESL program. At that point, there is no bilingual education offered anymore.
So there wasn't one in the past?
No.
Okay, that was my question. And then the early exit will still exist, right?
Yes, sir.
We're not doing away with that?
No. We have by law, we have to have a bilingual program. And so our bilingual, we have been implementing early exit for a number of years, with the exception, and we have continued, because again, as campuses were phasing in dual language, they still had early exit in the upper grades, and then they began dual language only in kinder and first, and then that program moves up. And now we're doing the opposite, actually. Those 50 campuses are now going back to early exit. So now they're phasing out the dual language.
So when I look at these challenges that we have, obviously y'all have spoken to principals and to teachers about this. What's the biggest, out of those, which is the biggest pushback that you're getting? Is there one that really stands out?
It varies by campus. I mean, every campus is different, and I really can't say one over the other. I think they're all valid concerns.
Is there one that's consistent across the board?
I think, if I may, Mr. President, I think the overarching theme and the biggest challenges, one was the bilingual pairs and finding an adequate amount of bilingual pairs, English and Spanish speakers. And the other was the teacher skill set to be able to transition from one content to another. So those are two of the biggest ones. And a couple of months back, I met with the parents, university professors, and we talked about these challenges, and we talked about the fact that we wanted to scale back and do 5 with fidelity, 2-way dual language programs, and then take it into the middle school and have a school within a school program, and then take that cohort, if they were interested, into the high school, so we could have a continuum K all the way through 12. So that's really the gist of why we went to 5, because we wanted to do it with fidelity. Now, if we get to where we can do those 5 with fidelity, then we could potentially grow it.
And when you say you spoke to professors, are the 2 professors that are here, or there's additional?
Yes, 2 professors that are here, Dr. Joey Izquierdo, Dr. Guajardo. There was a couple of professors that were here, and they had valid points, and I think one of the parts that we all agreed upon was a continuum to get to the high school level, so they were happy with that. But, from a parent's perspective, I can see the concern with not having the program offered at the school that their child goes to, so point well taken there. But we did want to create an environment where if you were interested in it, that you did have that option to go into a two-way dual language program that was run with fidelity, with the amount of staff that Angie has, so that we can monitor and provide them with the support necessary to do it right, and then take it into the middle school and high school.
So would it be fair to say that if we do it like this, you would be strengthening the program with time? Instead of the perception of us just trying to do away with it? I mean, if what you're saying is that we want to take it to the middle school and high school, that has never been done before.
Right. Right, and we're not saying we want to do away with the two-way dual language program. We're saying at this point, we believe that it's in the best interest of the district to do it at 5 and do it right. And then take that cohort that's at 4th grade right now, they'll be in 5th grade next year. By the time they get to 6th grade, then they'll have the option to go to one of our middle schools that we select, and then one of our comprehensive high schools within a school, so that by the time we get kids walking across the stage as seniors, they're bilingual, biliterate, and they've gone through an entire continuum of a dual language program as prescribed.
So, there were some different testimonies here, but I think the most compelling testimony is that if it's done right, there's no doubt in our mind that if you really believe in the program and you're enriched in the program, you'd be willing to take your kid and put them on another campus because you believe in this program so much. Is that?
Yes, sir. It's a fair statement.
All right.
What would it be? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. You need to speak first. Trustee Esparza.
I've heard earlier that it's not at some campuses anymore. I hear from you and I hear from Dr. Gonzalez that it's at all the campuses. Either it is or it isn't. So
We do have it at all
my
the
understanding is next year it'll just be at 5, but I heard earlier that it's only at 5 right now. I heard you say it's at all of our campuses, all of our elementaries. So either it is or it isn't.
It is at all the campuses, but the grade levels vary. Again, because of when the cohort began, so every campus is different. So 5 campuses may be up to 4th grade. That was the first cohort. Now, one of the campuses, for instance, was Gonzalez. Gonzalez was one of the first cohorts. So they should be up to the 4th grade.
But it's not, my understanding, it's not there anymore?
No, they stopped at the 2nd grade. They still have it up to the 2nd grade because they were able to create classes based on their enrollment and the request from parents to form those bilingual pairs. So that's not a problem up to the 2nd grade. Where she started experiencing a lack of interest, for lack of a better word, was in 3rd grade, where she didn't have enough students of non-ELLs to form a dual and two-way dual language program. And so at that point, she went back to early exit for those students. And those students, and her enrollment, her number of ELLs is very small. That's the other challenge with Gonzalez. So for instance, let me give you the counts. At Gonzalez, we have 923 students. 791 students are non-ELLs, and 132 students are ELLs. That's across the board. So from those 791 parents, 79 parents requested dual language across all grade levels. So, we have a good group of students. That's significant. That's 80. But that's still very few in comparison to the total enrollment of students, because the majority of the students there are non-ELLs. And remember, the goal of the bilingual program, whether it be dual language or whether it be early exit, is to support our ELLs. That's our primary focus. We have to support their needs. That we can provide the dual language program for our non-ELLs, that's a bonus, and that's a wonderful thing to do. However, you have to have all the elements in place. And in this case at Gonzalez, she doesn't have the numbers to make the pairs in every grade level. Up to 2nd grade, yes, but then in 3rd and 4th this year she did not. So she had to make the difficult decision of doing away with it, and those students that are still ELLs, they're being supported through her ELL teacher.
Well, I guess one of the concerns that I heard, and I have the same concern, is I remember when we brought this, they brought this before us. I was for it. I mean, my children went through a bilingual program, and I think it's a great plan. I know I struggled when they got to the junior high because it was tough for me to do the homework. Yes. But I think it's a great plan.
Right.
One of the concerns I had was that it sounds like all of a sudden it's no longer there and nobody even told me. I mean, that was a concern to me too, that I was out there telling the community, we've got this great program, and I get a text message saying, no, you don't. It's only at 5 campuses now, and it's kind of disappointing that I mean, I've heard the parents say, I heard 3 different responses from a board member, from you, and from Dr. Gonzalez. And I was one of them that asked that this be put on the agenda because I had some concerns about it.
Yes, and we do apologize, and we do take full responsibility that it wasn't clearly communicated to the parents. I think as the year began and principals had every intent to implement the dual language program, but they started to experience these challenges with not having sufficient students, not being able to form the pairs in the upper grades, because it's not a concern in the lower grades. They're fine, and they even ask, can we just keep it in the lower grades? But
and I think this is why maybe it's important that at some point somebody should have brought the parents in and said, how can maybe we can resolve this? Let's put our heads together and maybe try and come up with a solution, as opposed to just, well, we're not going to do anything, we're not going to tell anybody. It sounds like what happened. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like that's what I'm hearing. Nobody told us, all of a sudden it was just gone.
Right.
As opposed to, let's put our heads together and let's try and come up with a solution.
And this was a decision that wasn't made early.
Just one point. I do want to point out that, once again, we did meet with the community as far as the professionals, the university professors, and a group of parents. So we had that discussion. We went back and forth on the challenges. We gave them the vision. We talked to the principals about the challenges. We got the challenges. The principals talked to their staff about the challenges as well. So I don't want the perception to be that we were trying to hide this. It was just, as we were starting to feel that it was putting pressure on the system, that we tried to find a way to create an environment where we can have 5 and do it right. And it doesn't mean that down the road that we can't build up from the 5, but we want to do 5 right and then have a continuum moving to middle school and high school. The one thing on the point of do we have it or do we not, at this point it's a scatter plot. They're at different grade levels. It's just moving forward, we want to have 5 campuses, and it was Bettis, Sanchez Fields, McAuliffe, and Jackson.
That's correct.
That we're going to continue with a 2-way dual language program, and then we were going to feed into a middle school and feed into a high school.
That's correct.
The remaining campuses would still have a bilingual program, it just wouldn't be the 2-way.
That's correct.
Right.
And I'm not saying that anybody was trying to hide anything, but I think you mentioned you met with people. It sounds like, I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I don't know if anybody else on the board knew anything about it. So one of the key people, it sounds like, that was left out of that equation was the board. So I would hope in the future, issues like that come up, that, I mean, we hear it from administration and not secondhand later.
Yes, it's a point well taken, and definitely. And I do want to add to Dr. Gonzalez's point, it wasn't an easy decision. Just like he said, the principals were asked, go back and discuss it with your campus. It can't just be the principal making this decision. So they did discuss it with their SILD, with their campus, and collectively they made a decision. They took into account the teachers' opinions and concerns, and so it was difficult. Many of them asked, can we just keep it to second grade? Because it seems like up to second grade there are not as many challenges. It's once you get to that 3rd grade, 4th grade, the START test. But unfortunately we can't. This is not a program where you can pick and choose. It's you invest in the program, you commit to the program, kinder through 5th grade, as per the guidelines.
And I understand the challenges. I see that. I mean, having worked in I understand about the scheduling and all that. It's just, it seemed to, maybe there was a little bit of communication that was lacking.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And point well taken, and we should have done a report regarding it along the way to
Yes.
inform the board. So.
Yes, sir. Let me, if I may, I'll go ahead and continue.
Excuse me, Dr. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Trustee Vela has a question.
Only because it's been mentioned right here, but you said you had data to support the numbers and maybe changing the dual language program. And you also, I heard someone say earlier that the 5 campuses that have it were because that principal decided to stay into the program. Does the data you have coincide with the decision made by that principal to be one of the 5 campuses? In other words, does that support?
Yes, and I will say that those 5 campuses, again, they're also at different levels. For instance, Sanchez and Jackson are one of the schools that have it up to 4th grade, and so they'll be moving it up to 5th grade. Then Perez, for instance, has it up to, is it 2nd grade? So there, again, it's going to take them a little longer to get to full implementation. So then they're also at different levels of implementation. And so, for instance, the parents who in 3rd grade and in 4th grade from Gonzalez, that's why they went to Sanchez, because Sanchez has dual language up to 4th grade. So We do have the data, and we'll be happy to share it, where the numbers start to dwindle in the lower grades. Now, again, not necessarily in the lower, in the upper grades. And that's where the principals started to experience some challenges with the scheduling of the dual language classroom. So we'll be happy to share that with you.
So the 5 campuses that do have it have data that shows that there were no problems recruiting students for the upper grades, is that correct?
No, they still have challenges. But they're committed.
But their numbers were better than the others. Is that in all cases or just?
Yes, but it also, again, the staff has to have buy-in. It's very, very important that the staff have buy-in into the program. And so a lot of it has to do with the teacher skill set. I mean, there's many factors, and one of the challenges that some campuses face is the language proficiency in that second language, in that Spanish, because academic Spanish language is not easy, and especially in science. And I know, because when I would go into the classrooms and my teachers were teaching science in Spanish, I didn't even know the meaning of some of those words. It's very, very advanced. And so sometimes that's intimidating for our teachers. And so, again, if you have the teachers that have the skill set, great, but not all campuses have those teachers. So those are factors that will help the campuses make a decision whether they want to commit to a program, whether they have buy-in from the teachers, from the parents. So there's many factors, but I will tell you that these campuses, the principals want to implement it fully, but they did ask that we support them. And so we're fully committed to supporting them tackle those challenges, because it is a great program. We believe in it, but I mean, we completely believe in it, and we want it to be very successful. And that's where we're willing to provide more support, partner with UTRGV. I can say that I'm very, very pleased that Dr. Joy Izquierdo from UTRGV is coming to meet with all of our campuses, where our teachers, our principals, at no cost to the district, because she is that committed to helping us implement the program with fidelity. She understands. She says, I understand the challenges. I'm going to help you get through them. And so when the teachers hear that, but it's 5 campuses. She says, I can help 5 campuses. I can't help 20. And that's, again, just because she's willing to do it on her own time. So we're very, very grateful to Dr. Izquierdo from UTRGV. So again, it varies from campus to campus, but I can get you data as far as enrollment counts for each of the grade levels.
Because the campuses that are up there are north or east. We have not a whole lot in the west, central, or south, McAllen.
And let me tell you about South. And I also said, oh my goodness, we don't have any schools from the South. Our principals in the South, most of our students are, many of our students, the majority are Spanish speakers, as you know. Many of the parents request English instruction because they bring the Spanish language from home. And so and it's normal for parents to feel uneasy when they say, we want our children to learn English because we want them to compete equitably when they get to the middle school. And so their concern is you're maintaining the Spanish too long, and that they have it at home, we speak it at home, we read it at home, and so forth. So they want you to transition them earlier into English. That's at the South Campus. And that's, again, there's exceptions to everything, but I can understand a parent's perspective who only speaks Spanish. They're concerned that their child is going to be not going to be able to compete with their counterparts who are only all English speakers. And so that's where they see the challenge, that they start to get a lot of denials. Once they hit that 3rd grade, 4th grade, where parents are saying, pull them out because now I want them in all English. For those reasons. So it's cultural, it's a philosophy. I mean, it's very controversial because everybody, as you know, has an opinion of bilingual education, some for, some against, but we have to respect the parents' perspective and request. And so in the South schools, they're wanting early exit because they want their children in English classrooms a little faster than in the North schools. In the North schools, and it stands to reason, the parents of children who don't speak Spanish want their children to learn Spanish. And we have the opposite in the South. So.
What is offered, without naming any districts in particular, what is offered at the neighboring school districts in terms of dual language programs?
We have our neighbors, one, you didn't want me to mention names, okay.
Don't mention names.
Two districts that we know of.
One full implementation, and maybe 3 others that just go a cohort, not the whole campus, not all district-wide. That I can think of is only one district that is district-wide, dual language for all their ELLs. Everybody else will leave it streamlined to 1 or 2 elementaries or so forth. Yeah, that's...
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, I know that one of the districts in the state, Dallas ISD, is doing a big push for two-way dual language. You know, Dr. Hinojosa over there is very progressive with the bilingual program. So we're going to be taking a team up there to check out that program to see how they got it to. They have 50 of their elementary schools do a two-way dual language, but they have 150 elementary schools. So they got about a third of their campuses. We have 25 of ours, so we got a fourth. So we're a much smaller system, but we want to see how do you take it to that level of implementation. So we'll be visiting with them, and I'll be meeting with Dr. Hinojosa extensively, along with Dr. Stan Paz, who was in El Paso for a long time, so that we can get some ideas about how they're doing that, amongst other things.
Trustee Vela, you still have the floor.
Thank you. Going back to the list of, I want to say reasons, none of those happened overnight. Were we made aware of these as they came up? And in your opinion, Dr. Ibarra, did we do enough to support the concerns at that point in time?
Well, I can speak as a principal because I was a principal last year, and I was a principal, obviously, at one of the schools that was had the first cohort, and I pushed for that to be one of those schools because I believe in the program. I truly do believe in the dual language program. I have experience as a former bilingual director, so I have the knowledge and the background. I said it'll be great, but I did see these concerns. I did see the concerns where in 3rd and 4th grade, not so much in the lower grades, but in 3rd and 4th grade, where again the parents started to pull out their children. We had the low enrollment in the dual language and overcrowding in the and all of that. They were very valid concerns, and so I guess at the time I worked directly with the bilingual director at the time to try to get through those challenges. I don't think it was ever voiced because it was very new. We were only in 3rd, 4th year of implementation, so we were wanting it to work. I mean, that's our goal. We want it to be successful. So we try to work through the challenges. I know that at the time there were consultants coming in from Gomez and Gomez, and so we were asking them for support, for guidance. How do we work through the challenges? And so that's where we were at. And it was never voiced to the previous administration, and this year in this position, like I said, you know, as we visited the campus, it was a recurring question and theme that, and as they expressed their concerns, I knew. I said, yes, I see what you're saying, and when it's not one principal or 2 principals, but the majority of the principals that are expressing the same concerns and challenges, that we have to pay attention, because at the end of the day, again, we're here to support our campuses. We want them to be successful academically, and so we have to take their concerns into consideration, which is what we did.
Well, looking at those, you know, I don't think there's anything that we couldn't have overcome, and we maybe addressed them more proactively when they came to our attention. And then that final question, we have 5 campuses. Is that purely because 5 principals have volunteered to do it, or was there some madness behind the number 5?
We actually gave all the campuses the option. We didn't say we need 5, we need 7. 5 was a number of campuses that stepped up to the plate and said, we'll go ahead and continue with the implementation. I mean, nobody was asked to keep it. I do want to share, though, one point that Dr. Moya made earlier was that at, I believe it was at College Station, that there were numerous parents that wanted their children in dual language two-way, and there were only 40 positions available. And he made a very good point. The reason there were 40 positions, if I understood him correctly, because that was the number of ELLs, so that's, you had to have the pairs. So they even had, it was very successful for those 40, for that cohort, but that's all that could get into the program because of the limitation of ELLs. And so it's basically the same thing at some of our schools. They don't have the ELLs, or they don't have enough English speaking students, and so that's where you run into challenges.
To the audience, this is a meeting of the Board of Trustees for the public, so we cannot engage with the public. So I apologize, Dr. Moya, I cannot recognize you. Thanks. Go ahead, Mr.
So
Villa.
we didn't say we need so many campuses, or we need this campus or
No,
that
sir.
campus. It was,
No, sir.
it was a decision from the bottom up.
Yes, sir. The only thing,
Well, if I may, one of the things we wanted to start with those that were ready, willing, and able, and really start to build those and tackle all of those areas. And then once we tackle all of those areas and we start to build a continuum to the middle school and the high school, then potentially we could grow it from there. As opposed to doing all 20 and stressing the entire system, we were feeling that teachers and leaders were under pressure, and that pressure was creating some friction. So we were trying to take the pressure off the system. So it wasn't really a bottom-up type decision. It was more of a collaborative type decision to try to grow it, to try to do it right with 5. And then who's to say as we move down and we kind of master that we could do what Dallas ISD is doing. They're going, 50, trying to get to 150. We're at 5, trying to get to 20.
Thank you.
Now, would it be fair to say, though, because I can tell you my parents were that, because Spanish was first, and they wanted me to move away, and they were very concerned I would have an accent going forward. And so they did not want me, I spoke Spanish at home, and so they did not. And many of the parents that I've talked to, and the Sam Houston, Escandon, Roosevelt, they want to move them and assimilate them as quickly as possible. And when you see those IB presentations with many of those students when the IB was there, they seamlessly went back and forth without difficulty, but they struggle with English words.
yes.
So would it be, and again, what I've heard from, as this was being brought to my attention from parents, and some staff were reaching out as well, and some principals were reaching out, is the concern that the word that resonated is it was a one and done, and we wanted quickly to create a program and assimilate it into our system, and the word force was continuously being used. And so that's disconcerting. And when I asked, did they express these concerns going in, they said they did, but nobody was listening. So what I'm hearing today is there's people listening and assessing and making sure that if people come to our district or live in our district, is what I'm gathering, is that it really is the program that we are saying we're providing.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's international baccalaureate, dual language,
Yes.
concurrent enrollment, whatever the case may be. So it really is what we say we prepare from for.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And
Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, in scaling down to 5 campuses, we can assure that we implement the program with fidelity, because now we have additional resources, additional staff. We're partnering again with experts in the field who are willing to provide that direct support in the classrooms to our teachers. And so it's more manageable to work with 5 campuses versus 20 campuses. So that's why I say that I can guarantee that these 5 campuses are going to implement it very well with fidelity, and hopefully grow it to 10 campuses and then 20 campuses. But we start small, and we do it right, and we learn, and we tackle the challenges and work out whatever needs to be worked out, so that when we are ready to move it up again, that we do it right.
As we're trying to do with everything, that we had to scale back to get it right.
Exactly.
All right, now, I'm gathering that when you're looking at the data within these campuses, that you're factoring in that you're going to be able to have students, just like the International Baccalaureate, is filling in to get you to the numbers that you need to make that campus truly a dual enrollment from K through 5.
Yes.
And then to enable that cohort to then go into the middle school if we're going to go to that next level.
Yes, sir.
Right? That's what you're trying to. So in your formula, you're having to factor in that a certain number are going to go. Do you know what that number might be from each respective campus at this point? Both the English and the Spanish, because you have to pair them up.
Right. I think we can get you those numbers. I know that they're starting to transfer. They're starting to submit their transfer request to the various campuses. We're seeing it more students transfer to Perez and Sanchez at this point. And even during our EduFest event, I know there were parents that were inquiring specifically about dual language campuses. I have 2 nephews who already told me they're going, or my sisters-in-law, they're going to Perez because of the dual language program. I said, great. great, so it's an option, and so there is interest, but I can't give you specific numbers at this
Okay.
point, but I will get you that information.
As far as a goal, we would love to have 1 to 2 sections at the middle school. If we could fill 1 to 2 sections, because it's going to be a little cohort, kind of like we have GT classes, we would have dual language classes. So if we could fill 1 to 2, have 1 to 2 classes like we have with our GT programs, that would be great as a starting point, 25 kids in one class, 25 in another, and grow it from there, and then hopefully graduate that many in the future. If we could start off with graduating 50 to 75 kids. This is just numbers as a vision, but that's something that we want to see through, so that when they walk across the stage, that they're truly bilingual and biliterate, and we want to stay committed to these 5. I know one of the parents had a good concern with, or all of them are good concerns, but one made a point that we hope that these 5 stay, and who's to say that next year they're not going to pull out. We're committed to these 5 and growing from there. We don't want to go backwards. We want to grow, do it right, build to the middle school, build to the high school, and if anything, expand from the base as we move up. That's the vision.
Well, having implemented projects of this nature, you really need to start looking at it. We need to know pretty soon what middle school we're talking about. And then very soon, which high school. Almost, as you're building these 5, almost simultaneously that, and then then we can make a commitment that this is where we're going, this is our path, and that's a true commitment. When you now put the middle and the high school, which we do not have, because the reality, when parents may not understand, is that when they go to 6th grade, it's going to drop off, because there is no program. There hasn't been. There is no plan.
Exactly.
So that's important to know.
Very, very important. And next year is a critical year, and that is why we have partnered with UTRGV, and they're going to help us. They have committed to helping us develop this model moving forward into middle school. What is it going to look like? How is it going to be taught? In what subjects? Because, again, there is no dual language at the middle school. So that at that point, we have to be very intentional and make sure that we get the support and the knowledge and the resources and tools to be able to implement it effectively. So that this next year, being that there are 2 upper schools and possibly 3 will be at the 5th grade level, we need to already start planning for the middle school. And eventually to the high school.
Mr. President, I've been waiting, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, have you concluded your thought?
I just wanted to...
I have some questions, sir. I've been waiting patiently.
Okay, if we would, let's get the presentation done, if it's okay.
I'd rather just, because we're on this, so
All right,
if you don't
Trustee
mind.
Alvarado.
Because actually, my questions should have been in the first, because I'm not in the classroom. When you talk about dual language, I'm going to pick 2nd grade. What are you talking about? Are you teaching math 30 minutes and Spanish 30 minutes, English 30 minutes, Spanish 30 minutes? Can you?
Yes, let me take you back to the model. If you see here on the dual language enrichment model.
It's 50-50. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so the traditional early exit, we pay the Spanish, we pay our teachers who teach this, we pay them a stipend, right?
Yes, sir.
And what's that stipend?
Is it 1,200?
It's 500 for less than, 8 teachers or
A maximum of 1,000.
over
and
11
minimum
for
of 3.
1,000. Okay. So when you're teaching Spanish at an early transition, you're doing coursework, or you're doing your lessons in English and Spanish, you're running copies in English and Spanish, and the goal is to exit them. Have we factored in a stipend for these 5 schools?
Yes.
So they are getting the stipend. And what are we paying them?
We're looking at 1,200.
Currently, it's still the same, the 1,000, and we've had discussions, Dr. Ibarra and myself, to possibly increase that stipend for the dual language campuses. Because it is, for example, math, it is taught in English 100% of the time.
Okay.
But after every math lesson or science or social studies, whatever it may be, there is that concept refinement that is the last 15 minutes where the teacher needs to go back. And so there is a lot of different components that we see in the dual language model that, from ClearSight, you can't see it, but there are different components embedded that, justifies for giving the teachers an additional.
Okay, and I bring it up because on the early transition, I know I've been asked by teachers that have those students, whether you have 5 students or 6 students, you're getting 500 for one, 1,000 for the other. I'm still making the copies, I'm still doing the lesson plans and all that. So I know this is not word discussion here, but I think we should look at that as well, because some of those classes, you're right, some parents don't want to be in that class, and it is difficult for a teacher to teach math and stop, and so they're putting a lot of extra work for that. So the reason I bring up the stipend is, we have some teachers here from Gonzales that are some parents from Gonzales that want to continue it. So maybe an idea is to have a cohort to allow these students to stay at their school, to continue until we decide what we do, but pay some of the teachers there at Gonzales who want to do it and believe the program, a stipend to finish it. I'm just trying, you hate to lose some of our parents, if they're already building, moving from one school to another, it's hard on them. So it seems like we made the decision, I understand we made the decision, it's stressing, but if we can find a solution, at least to bridge us, to get us, to that level, I think.
And if I may, actually, Dr. Gonzalez and I were discussing that earlier as an option, that perhaps for those students that we could offer them Spanish language arts through an enrichment program, whether it be through the Reteach and Enrich component that we implement at each of the schools for 45 minutes, or like you're saying, after school, so that those parents that want their children to learn the basic interpersonal communication skills, or even the academic language, we can do that. It wouldn't be necessarily through the bilingual program, although we can also do it through the early exit, but we can also do it through an enrichment. So we have already been discussing, and hopefully,
compromise.
yes.
Okay. And it took a lot of my questions, so I'm kind of hit and miss, and then I'm jumping around, but you took all my questions, what happens when you're last. And my last question is because it's been brought up to me that this was a school board. No.
I thought I
didn't want to interrupt
I would have said
No, I tried to interrupt Mr. Suarez. I was looking at him because he
Richie
said,
comes next month.
You went like this to me, sir, so it's okay.
We're good.
Easy, boys.
You have the floor.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to bring a little laughter too.
So a little levity is good.
Yeah.
But you have the floor.
On the school board decision, and this is, probably for you, Mr. Crane, I was told this was a school board decision prior to me being on the board. I don't know how long ago, a couple of years ago. If that's the case, if the school, 4 years ago, the school board actually voted on this, isn't it come back to the board to rescind?
It should.
Okay. And I'm not saying I disagree with it or what have you, but if that's the protocol, then it should come back to the board for us to vote on.
I think it was presented as information. I did go back and we searched for the board agenda, and
Can
it
you
was
clarify
more
that?
information. Yes,
Because if
sir.
it's a vote, then we have to follow our own policy.
Right.
The only way to rescind that is by board vote.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like someone always says, I'm not buying or selling. I just want to make sure we follow our protocol.
I had the same concern, and I could not locate it, but again, I'll keep searching. It was presented as information, is my understanding. Because again, bilingual education is a requirement of the state, so we do have to implement it. The program model that we choose is, but I'll go back and look.
And I think if we have offered, because are we currently paying a bilingual stipend right now?
Yes.
So all the teachers in Gonzales are getting a bilingual stipend?
If they're implementing a bilingual program, they're serving dual ELLs, they are getting.
So
a
how many
stipend.
teachers in Gonzales are getting that stipend? Do we know?
Well, what?
Because that's the other thing is too, not letting our teachers know,
It's not that many.
but still $1,500 to some of the teachers is.
No, it is.
yeah.
For that is, but yeah.
But it's a range. It's not $1,500 across the board or $1,000. It depends on the number of students that it's prorated. So if you have 5 students, you may get 500. If you have 10 students, you get a little bit more, and so forth.
So that's on the transition. So the dual where everyone is learning English, Spanish, that's my question. Are we paying just a flat stipend?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just
A flat stipend.
So at Gonzales, we're not a dual enrollment school, so they're not getting a flat stipend. It's depending on how many Spanish-speaking kids they have.
Only in those classrooms that are designated as dual language classrooms, because they are implementing the program. So in this case, it would be in the lower grades for the most part. In the lower grades, that's where they're still implementing the dual language program.
Okay,
Not in
so
all
what
grades.
stipend are they getting, though? Are they getting the
It's still-
500 or the 1,000? They're early.
Oh, I see.
Do you know where I'm going with this,
I see
sir?
the
Yes, sir.
question, yes. Where there's a breakdown for the bilingual early exit, but dual language is an automatic. So there's not that.
I see.
Yes, I see your point.
But I
where-
see your point. It's not an easy, yeah, okay.
And that can be adjusted, because personally, I don't feel that, you have 11 students, you get 500, but if you get that extra one, you get 1,000. That's
That's tough.
I agree with that. And that's something that we've discussed as well.
I'd like to bring that to the board just for some clarification at some point when you're ready to bring it, because like you said, I've seen teachers making copies for 5 students and one making 6 and they get a little bit more money. Doesn't make sense. But just my last thought, Dr. Gonzalez, obviously we can't, this is board governance, but suggestion is a meeting with the Gonzalez teachers, see if we can, Gonzalez parents, or anybody else, to see if there's anything we can work out on a cohort. Again, actually, I shouldn't have said that. That's borderline board governance. I take that back.
Rewind.
Yeah.
Sure. It's fair enough. It's up to Dr. Gonzalez and his administration.
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you, Trustee Vela.
Back to my 5-campus question. If 5 campuses had not volunteered, we wouldn't have this program today. Is that right? Or if, and you don't have to answer this, it's a rhetorical question. Or if 19 or 20 campuses had said, let's have this program, we would have the program today. My question leaving tonight is, what else is at risk? Bus drivers don't want to drive tomorrow? Coaches don't want to coach? I mean, at some point, we got to put on our big boy pants and be board of directors. That's where I stand on this issue. And no offense to those people, I think we should always have that ability to hear from the bottom up and talk from everybody in every angle. But it bothers me that something might be at risk because somebody doesn't want to do something, when it could cost standing in our district.
Right.
And that's why I'm here, is to be sure we do maintain freedom, the choice, the district of choice and premier district and all the things we always talk about. I feel passionate about it, and I'm going to work toward making sure that we are that district of choice. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Vela. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I just have one comment too.
Trustee Esparza.
And I'll move on. But you mentioned one of the things you talked about was parental or staff buy-in. And I know we cut another program and assigned it to 5 or 6 campuses, and I don't think there was any evaluation if there was any staff buy-in or not. And I've heard from some of the staff at some of these campuses, and my understanding is, nobody asked, they just, here it is. So that's, when you said yes, principals were told, principals volunteered, that's not what I'm hearing. So I'm just, it's important, yes, to have staff buy-in and the community buy-in, and I don't know if that was all done or not.
Well, I do want to say that the one thing that I want to stress today and that I want to leave you with is that bilingual education is a program that was implemented to meet the needs of our English language learners. And we have huge numbers of English language learners in our district, especially at the elementary level. And they're doing well. They're doing well. We're closing the gaps, and we have data also to share. We can share with you at another meeting. I know we're running out of time, but they're pretty comparable, and I'm pleased to say that whether it's a bilingual program, the early exit, the dual language one-way or the two-way, they're pretty much comparable. And what that tells me and tells the administration, the teachers are working very hard. Regardless of the program, they're working very hard to meet the needs of the students. So whether it's a dual language or whether it's an early exit, their primary focus is meeting the needs of those students, academic needs, and they're closing those gaps, whether in English or Spanish. We have served in the thousands, really, especially at the elementary level. The number of ELLs is huge, and so we're going to continue to stress the bilingual program, the dual language program, the importance of the program to meet the needs of our students. And hopefully we can reach a compromise. I mean, that would be great if we can reach a compromise and we can find some solutions to offer those other campuses, other options, so that we can maintain programs, enrichment programs in Spanish. But again, I can tell you that our teachers work very hard, our bilingual teachers, to meet the needs of our ELLs, and that's our focus. We have to close those gaps for our ELLs, for our English language learners. I think we're doing it with the programs that we have in place. So,
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Forina.
I was the only guy that hadn't said anything, but now I got to jump in.
you
2
don't.
points of personal experience. I had 3 cousins, a 5th, a 3rd, and a 1st grader that came off the Marielito boat lift out of Havana, Cuba. When they arrived onto this campus, the school district immediately wanted to place them in a bilingual program, and it was only because my mother fought, even going to the superintendent's house at the time and saying, I will teach these children Spanish at my home, and I commend the parents that are doing that and speaking to their children Spanish at their home. But by the end of the school year, my 3 cousins who came to the United States not knowing a lick of English had mastered the English language and were excelling in any task that was provided to them at that time. This was before the STAR test and all that we have to deal with. Secondly, my sister-in-law came to McAllen ISD as a 1st grader from a neighboring district where she was in the bilingual program, and when she arrived, she could not read in English and she could not read in Spanish. She was just essentially floating there. And to get her out of the other district, we had to physically take my mother-in-law and say, I want her out of the program because we're switching districts. And that's how she started her run here at McAllen ISD. And I'm proud to report that even not having the dual language at the time, just the regular bilingual, she's very successful and will be graduating from U of H this year. So that's a little point of, brightness. But I think the key point to know, as we see parental involvement from our parents that want to see the program from Gonzales and from the north side, and we have other parents that say, listen, I want my child to be fully immersed into the English language, we have to respect those decisions. And if we can't go to scale at all 20 elementary schools, I would much rather say I'll go at a 4th and work with the program and hope that would grow into the middle school, into the high school program, rather than just saying, let's eliminate the program entirely, or let's force it upon people that aren't going to give it their best because they're not buying into the program. Those are my 2 cents.
All right. Thank you, Trustee Forina. Any other comments from the board? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
We'll now move to item 7.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask for reorg, please.
Trustee Suarez, you have the floor.
8D, approval of the assistant principal for Andrew Jackson Elementary.
Okay. 8B.
I don't think we're going to get a
8D.
8D, I'm sorry. 8D. All right, there's been a motion by Trustee Suarez to reorganize the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Forina. This is a motion to only reorganize the agenda, not the item itself. Requires 2/3 vote from those present. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0. The item's been now up for discussion is 8D, approval of the assistant principal for Andrew Jackson Elementary. Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The administration recommends Mr. Miguel Herrera for the position of assistant principal for Andrew Jackson Elementary, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Suarez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Forina. Any discussion?
I think you should have waited longer. It's part of the initiation.
Midnight would have been good.
Oh, hold on. Don't clap yet. We haven't voted.
There's no vote yet. There hasn't voted.
Oh, we haven't voted.
I moved the table the vote. No, I'm just joking. All those in favor? Call for a vote.
All those calling for a vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0. Congratulations to Miguel Herrera, who's now the assistant principal at Jackson Elementary.
Take your kids home.
Congratulations.
We'll be there for breakfast
Get to work,
tomorrow.
but I'm pretty sure you already are at work doing this, so thank you. Congratulations to you all. Continued success. We'll now go back to
Mr. President, I would like to ask for a reorganization of the agenda.
All right.
To item 8E, the approval of Director of Payroll.
All right, we have a motion for 8E to be taken into consideration. Reorder the agenda. Do I have a second? I think I heard Trustee Esparza.
What? He didn't even talk. Yes, no, I'm just joking.
Okay.
That goes off of you.
All right, we have a motion for trustee Farina, a second for trustee Esparza, that we proceed with the item 8E. This is again just a reorg. All in favor signify saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it 6-0. Motion carries. We'll now proceed to item 8E, approval of the Director of Payroll. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The administration recommends Ms. Ashley Jaime for the position of Director of the Payroll Department, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
It's been moved by trustee Farina, seconded by trustee Esparza.
Oh, still,
I'm on the road.
I'm chopped liver.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it 6-0. Congratulations to Ms. Ashley L. Hyman.
Can you make your telephone number public so if the checks are wrong, they can call you instead of us?
Congratulations, and we wish you continued success.
I'd like to just joke.
Any other? Hearing none, we'll now go back to item 7B2, report regarding family treatment program. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Dr. Ibarra and Adrian Garza will provide an update on the district's family treatment program for the 2016-2017 school year. It has maintained focus on the goal to increase access to mental health services for students and families by increasing ties to the community resources and coordinating mental health services for families. And we're invested in creating a mentally healthy environment for children to learn. This item is for information only, and at this point, I will turn the floor over to Dr. Ibarra.
Thank you. Yes, I'm just going to give you a very brief report. Here on the slide, and I don't think you can see it. She's getting it, okay.
Way to go, Joaquin.
There we go. Okay. So these are the entities that we currently have agreements and partnerships with, Tropical Texas Behavioral Health, and this particular entity provides campus co-location sites for mental health services that include skills training, counseling, and psychiatric services. We also partner with Behavioral Health Solutions of South Texas, which provides student and staff training on substance use prevention. Behavioral Hospital at Renaissance provides campus-based licensed professional counseling services for students, which will be reviewed in more detail in the following slide. The UTRGV School of Psychology provides group interventions at Lamar Academy. UTRGV School of Social Work and Rehabilitative Services are currently working on a plan for fall internships and providing clinical counseling services for students and families. UTRGV School of Medicine Austin Peña Clinic will be working at Lamar Academy with the SEER 2 curriculum and eventually expand services into other campuses. The Mesquite Treatment Center provides substance use counseling at the ING Center as well as inpatient treatment. We have the UT Austin School of Social Work, which provides internship students. Currently, we have one student based at McAllen High School. Raising Hope and New Beginnings provides substance use counseling for students exiting the ING Center, as well as referrals from other campuses. Palmer Drug Abuse Program provides substance use prevention skills at the ING. And then South Texas Health provides staff training on understanding of students with a mental health diagnosis and synthetic drugs, as well as assisting referral process for hospital admission. And then we also have two programs that are currently pending an MOU, and that's RGV Children's Bereavement Program and Bugner Family Services. So we'll be adding those to the list very, very soon.
$5 fine.
Now it froze.
That was my interference.
Okay, let me go on. I'm not sure what's happening with this slide.
Next is the LP services.
Yes,
through
next is
Renaissance
the LPC
Counseling.
services through Renaissance. Renaissance Counseling Services provide campus-based licensed professional counseling services for students. The Family Treatment Program Prevention Intervention Specialists facilitate the referral process and serve as a liaison for parents and students, as well as provide intensive case management for students receiving counseling services. Currently, Medicaid is billing. Billing is conducted by the Counseling Center, and we are collaborating on a process to include private insurances. Renaissance Counseling Center has provided pro bono services for students and families. And I failed to mention that we have 31 students that are currently being served. Here you have the breakdown by campus. We have 7 students at Cathy, 5 at De Leon, 19 at Morris Middle School, for a total of 31 students. And so when we look at the impact, is it having an impact? You can see there the breakdown. It's having an impact on some campuses more than others. But for instance, at Morris Middle School, 11 out of the 19 students that are being served have improved their grades. 7 have maintained consistent grades, and 1 has declined. As far as attendance, 3 have improved their attendance. 15 out of 19 have remained consistent, and 1 has declined. And then the number of discipline referrals has decreased for 14 out of the 19 students, and 5 out of 19 have maintained. And then you can see the breakdown there at De Leon and also at middle school. So again, it varies by campus, but we do see an impact on students' behavior and overall grades and attendance. And then moving on, here's a sample sketch of how the Family Treatment Program Prevention Intervention Specialist coordinates the licensed professional counseling services. Students are seen during electives to prevent being absent during a core class period. So they use their time very effectively to maximize their time and the services that they're providing to students at the various schools. And that concludes my presentation. I'll open it up for questions for either Mr. Garza, for me, Mr. Garza, or Dr. De Hoyos.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Trustee Suarez, Esparza, any questions? No. Okay.
We're talking about it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for the body of work you do to assist our students and their families when they have some issues and matters to be addressed. So thank you.
And I want to recognize Mr. Adrian Garza, because he is doing an amazing job in making sure that we continue to increase the partnerships. Dr. De Hoyos as well, they have been meeting with UTRGV in particular to grow those partnerships to provide those services that our students need. So thank you, Adrian.
Thank you very much.
Good job, Adrian.
Thank you, Ms. So,
Hey, guys. Thanks for waiting. If you'd like to speak, you can go ahead.
I got to get on the 4 slides.
Quick.
Here's to the 4-slide presentations.
Reports, they're quick reports.
Here.
thank you. Good night. Appreciate it. We'll now proceed to item 7B4, report regarding biweekly versus monthly payroll. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Mr. Miller will report on the results of a recent survey to update the Board of Trustees on employees' adjustment to monthly payroll, and this is for information only. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, sir. So Human Resources is submitting an update on the monthly versus biweekly payroll for employees on 190 and 242 work schedules. Quick background, June 2015, the board voted to move FMO 260 scheduled employees to 242 schedule and convert from biweekly to monthly payroll. February 2016, board voted to move all other employees to monthly payroll cycle except subs and part-time employees. Later exceptions included bus drivers and bus aides, which all stayed on a biweekly schedule. April 2017 surveyed 469 employees. More information to come shortly. Advantage of monthly pay includes 12 monthly payments, elimination of summer prepay benefits. Previously under a biweekly payroll, these benefit premiums were deducted twice during March, April, and May to ensure summer benefit coverage. Elimination of small or reduced checks during holiday periods. Also aligns payment to retirement and Social Security annuity payments. Increases net pay due to pre-tax benefit applied monthly instead of every other biweekly payroll. And for those employees who work in a 10-month position, they will receive a paycheck during the summer months, even if they are not working. A couple of disadvantages: monthly paycheck is reduced pay when transitioning back to biweekly, and of course, overtime paid on the next monthly paycheck. We've done several financial literacy initiatives. You'll see on the screen there. Back initially in 2016, we've also had Frost Bank, Access Financial Services, and also back in February, March of this year, we've also went back out to this group of people and did more financial literacy training. Survey. So the survey was distributed last Wednesday, and really we just asked them 2 questions. Question number 1, how have you adjusted to the monthly pay schedule? You'll see on this slide here that 44% out of 429 respondents said very good. 22% said good, so that's 66% of the respondents said that they've adjusted very good or good to this monthly payroll. 16% fair, 7% poor, and 11% very poor. The second and final question, if given the choice, would you prefer to be paid on a bi-weekly or monthly schedule? 33% said they'd prefer to be paid bi-weekly. 67% said they'd prefer to be paid on a monthly schedule. Interesting, out of this number, of that 33% that said they'd prefer to be paid bi-weekly, there was a group of about 20 employees that says, I'd like to be paid bi-weekly, but can you spread it out over 24 equal payments? So, so no, that tells me that they have adjusted to that. They want that steady paycheck and all this other stuff, but they don't want to go back to the bi-weekly like it was previously. So, again, so 67% said they'd prefer to be paid monthly. 33% said they'd prefer to be paid bi-weekly.
Is that all of the employees? I mean,
that is a
469 of total, how many?
Beg pardon, that's a 91% response rate, sir.
Okay.
So we've still got them trickling in, but it's still 2/3. And that concludes my report regarding the monthly versus bi-weekly payroll.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I've got
Trustee Fodena.
a couple of issues that have been brought to my attention is that when we do the financial literacy courses, it's done during their lunch period, and you really get, from wherever you're at in the district, you've got to go back to a central point, not taking into consideration travel time, not taking into consideration eating time, and then have to sit through a financial literacy course. I'm not buying or selling, I'm just letting you know that that's one of the things that has been brought to our attention. So I don't know if that's the way it runs. Is that the way it's been going?
That would be applicable for the lunch and learns, as we call them, come in and have a 30-minute, we got a max or whoever is presenting some financial information, but we've also went out there recently in February, March, one-on-one in these particular departments while they was on the clock, and answering their questions and things like that. So what you're talking about, sir, would maybe for the lunch and learns, but that would be the exception.
And no disrespect to our teams, some of them are saying that they're having difficulty with the computers. They're not computer literate. Are these financial literacy courses being done online? Is it something where we're telling them you've got to log in and this is how you do it, or?
We've got coffee, knowledge of financial education. There's webinars. We've had,
That's the webinar
yeah, that
I
one
was talking about.
Yeah. So.
And lastly, with the overtime situation, is it possible rather than cutting a check 30 days after, we could do it 2 weeks after, so that, if somebody's getting their usual check on the 25th, is there a way to maybe do it on the 10th or on the 15th? Is that something that's out of the realm of consideration?
That is something that we're looking into to see if there would have to be some changes to our payroll processing system in order to isolate where their base pay could be paid on a monthly basis, and then possibly run their overtime through the biweekly schedule. But we don't have confirmation yet of what it would take to do that, but we are investigating that in order to expedite that.
I think that may alleviate a lot of the issues that are being brought to our attention. If there was a way, hey, I've gone from the biweekly to the monthly check, and you just sit there, and it's a transition that you've got to go through. Fortunately, my wife is the one that handles the money in our house, so she just gives me my $20 and says, make it last all week. But it's one of those things where if you don't have that structure in place, you don't have that financial responsibility, it's going to be a struggle.
Mm-hmm. The overtime has been one of the loudest concerns that I've heard, and as we are looking into that.
Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Alvarado.
We pay on a monthly basis, but there's some months, there's 2 or 3 months that you go past the 30 days. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. There's actually, yes. And that works out because of we get into the winter months and there's holidays, so we have to work around those days in order to plan our pay dates. As a matter of fact, this year, after the pay dates were set, this was brought to our attention, and we went back and we modified the January payroll. As a result of that, the rest of the pay dates were already set. The one that throws us off the most is the November, because we're off for an entire week. So we pay before we leave, and that's, let me see. November is paid on this, was paid on the 17th this year. So that's 23 days in the pay cycle between paychecks. So since that's a short month, then that's going to affect the months after.
And the question I have for Mr. Crane is because I've been told that we're violating fair labor by not paying our employees within 30 days.
I can't answer that because I'd have to go back and look at the facts and see how the facts work.
Could you
actually, we've sent you, we've consulted with 2 law firms on this issue.
But not on the pay dates.
On the pay dates, we have sent the information in specifically to O'Hanlon, Kevin O'Hanlon's law firm. We did also consult with you on several issues regarding that.
I don't recall pay dates.
In the pay dates.
Can we just follow up with, I just want to get clarification.
We do have a written legal opinion.
Okay.
That I can forward to you.
Okay.
Regarding that specific question.
Other school districts, are we how many school districts are going to paying their
Auxiliary person.
Auxiliary, yes, I'm thanking for the word,
Yes.
on a monthly basis?
We did a poll about a year ago under TASB, through TASB Connect. They have a community forum, and it varies from district to district. There's some that are paying on a monthly and some that are paying on a biweekly basis. So it wasn't 100% of the districts responding, but we had a good number, 20-something districts that provided feedback.
Okay. Because I understand, I mean, I just don't want to be we're the only one doing it, and, you know, that gives the other school districts an advantage. And I forgot the question when I asked about the monthly. So they're not getting paid on the 25th like teachers then?
They are. They're paid, all the monthlies are paid on the exact same pay date.
So in November, though, teachers get paid?
We got paid earlier.
So we also exceed that 30 days
Yes.
for teachers?
Teachers, and in addition to that, see, the auxiliary staff was transitioned this past year. However, when you take into account clerical, technical, and teacher aides, they've been on monthly payroll since many years ago. So they've been getting paid on a monthly basis already.
Okay.
It's new to the auxiliary, so that's kind of why we're hearing them having some difficulty with the adjustments. But in terms of clerical, technical, and instructional aides, we have 284 clerical technical staff and 405 instructional aides that have been long before being paid on this monthly cycle. And the overtime as well would work the same way. They get paid a month late. A month in the next pay cycle is when they see their overtime payment. However, since they've been dealing with it for years, they've already adjusted their budgets. They got hired on a monthly, so they knew what they were coming into.
When we did this change, we went from 242 days to 260 days. Does that mean that now on the 260, they have 18 vacation days? Is that what I understand?
We went from 260 to 242.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
We did, however, what we took into account is we took their salary at that time that they were making under the 260, and that it was prorated to include, so that when they got the raise the next year, they would retain the value of the additional days into their hourly rate.
Okay.
So moving forward, they didn't lose any money in essence. They are having to work less days. Now that presented a problem with people that were at a 242. So then what we did is we looked at the 242s and compared their hourly rates, how they ranked to the 260s that were converted, and were able to keep their salary. So they kept, let's say if I was making $25,000 a year at 260, I'm now going to start the year working 242, but I'm still going to get $25,000. So in essence, the days got added into my salary. But if I'm a 242 and I'm making $25,000, well, that's not fair. So what we did is we looked at the 242s and compared them to the ones that were 260, and then we bumped
their pay if they qualified for an increase. So then everybody got equalized moving forward, and so now they're all on the same calendar.
Okay. And what's the difference in vacations day then? I mean, was there advantage to moving them to 242 for vacation days? Because I thought part of the issue that we had last time is that they would tell me, sir, we can't take more than 2 or 3 days off on vacation. So I thought part of the reason we're moving this, or I might have misunderstood, so that's why I'm asking for a clarification. I thought that by moving them to 242, they work less days and they had more vacation days. That's not accurate?
No, they worked the same amount of days. What was happening is in the 260s, they were in essence getting paid holidays.
They don't get paid those days anymore.
But the value of that pay was worked into their salary. And then the 242s were then even bumped higher.
They still lost the paid days. They don't get paid for time off like they used to. You can cut it any way you want it, but they don't. What we did was compress it.
Right.
We compressed the 260 to the 242, and then we brought the 242 to what the 260 was, so that they equalized it, comparable to what they were making in that role, whether they were hired as a 242 or hired as a 260. But in the result is they lost the paid days.
So their vacation still remains the same whether we pay them twice a month or once a month? There was no impact on vacation days?
No, there shouldn't be.
And hourly, in our auxiliary, how many days do we give them for vacation? Is it 5?
I don't have that with me. Dr. Barrera?
There's no vacation days?
242?
0.
I don't think it's any.
Did I misunderstand that?
Well, an argument could be made that since you're being paid for the 260, is that time off period, is the money still there, it's just compressed down into the 242 that you're working. And so if you stay budgeting your budgets with that time off being that you're getting it throughout the year, then when you take off, you have paid time off. And that's what they're referencing, is they now have those 18 days that are not paid time off.
I understand now.
You see, where before it was the way we were paying it, it was the perception is that, well, not, it was the reality is you got the paid time off. And by compressing it to the 242, unless you budget accordingly and take that into account.
My last question for you, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. Thank you for the clarification. My last question, what started the move? Who was it? Coming from HR, or what was the decision to go from once a month to twice? I mean, from twice to once.
Back in, bear with me.
Yes, whenever we started this a year ago.
In the June 2015 board notes, that was before I got here, but it's in there that you take them from 260 to 242 and also take that group of people to a monthly pay schedule.
Right.
And then come along in February 16, I think I've been here like...
No, but what started why did we do that? What started, who made that decision?
I don't know, that was before my time, I hate to say that.
It was already in motion when we started working on it,
I think it was a recommendation by administration at the time.
Yeah, Trustee Vela is correct. At the time, that administration was making that recommendation.
And part of the benefits had to do with, because they were seeing issues with them missing checks in certain paid periods, and especially on the food service employees, they were seeing double deductions for their benefits, so it was reducing. So it was meant to equalize their pay to help them out.
I mean, I can understand teachers, they get paid a little bit more, but to me, I would, and I know there's surveys, and I'm trying to reconcile it because I think it would be higher. I think they would want to get paid every other 2 weeks, even if it's a little bit less, but it's not having to wait 30 days, or some cases more than 30 days for their paycheck. So
especially the overtime is a big issue, because it's a month now, more than a month.
Yep.
So, and again, I'm just asking because I'm sure someone will ask me, the survey, when it was done, who administered it?
The actual supervisors themselves. So we sent the survey out to FMO, and they got down to the supervisors and hand carried it around.
Okay, and was it a discussion, or was it just, here's a survey, fill it out, is your name on it, is, all that stuff?
I believe it was a very brief discussion, you know what I mean, because there really the two questions. How have you adjusted, and then if you had your preference.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Any other questions, Trustee Villa?
No, sir.
I've been led to believe that there was a discussion going to take place, that those folks that wanted one-time deal and wanted to stay biweekly would stay biweekly, and if they chose monthly, they'd be grandfathered in, but they would go monthly, but once they made that decision, they could not go back to a biweekly. Now, did I misunderstand, or did we back away from that, or that was just a discussion with no decision being made?
Well, the discussion was, when we last presented to the board, we advised the board that we were going to go back and we were going to provide some additional financial literacy classes, which we did. We reran the classes, and in addition to that, we were going to sit down with them on an individual basis. So we had representatives from payroll, HR, and benefits housed for an entire week pretty much at FMO training room and child nutrition program, where we invited them, where maybe they felt uncomfortable in the large group session to ask questions on a more personal nature, and this was during their working hours from 2:30 to 4:30. At any point in time, they could sit down with the representatives. At that point in time, they could discuss whether their particular situation made sense to transition or not before we would come out with a survey. So now they're well informed of the process, the pros and cons, and how it relates to them, and then here comes the survey. So then the survey would be reported to the board. And one of the discussions was, if we saw that there was an overwhelming response, or it was 50-50 or so forth, whether to consider, could we consider then, having people opt in, yes or no? So that discussion was had on an administrative level, and we feel that if that is the direction that we want to go, then, we would be able to do that. The only drawback to that is that you would have two groups of people, and there'd be some differences within the same family of employees. Would we allow, would it be grandfathering the ones that had transitioned, and that's it? Any new employees comes in at monthly? So those were the kind of discussions that we were thinking of having through this report process and getting some feedback.
All right, so are we going to get forthcoming a recommendation from you, Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes. We've gone through the process. We got the data now so that we can sit down. We'll start tomorrow during our executive leadership team meeting to discuss how we're going to come back to the board and present potential options.
Really, at this point, since we've already made a decision in the past, if there is no change, just to tell us there is no change, but if there is going to be a change, and it requires action, then yes. But if not, it could just be information.
Yes, sir.
Normal information channel. I mean, that's the way I see it. I don't know if somebody sees it different.
You're correct, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7B5, report regarding student recruitment initiatives for 2016-2017 school year. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Mr. Miller will report on student recruitment initiative activities for the 2016-2017 school year. It's for information only.
All right. May 2016, there was a block walk on the Student Support Services organized a block walk aimed at recruiting students who reside within the MISD zone but attend to school elsewhere. 4 elementary campuses were chosen: Bonham, Houston, Castaneda, and Hendricks as part of this project. Approximately 20 campus officials, central administration personnel, and some MISD board members participated in this walk and conducted 47 home visits between 8:30 and 11:30. Student Support Services also tasked with recruiting new students to MISD. Staff at Student Support Services calls and visits parents of students not attending MISD to find out why they're not attending and to encourage them to return to MISD. One of the reasons we found early on was the level of customer service at some of our campuses and our backroom departments. So what we've done with their go-to people development strategic design team is focus on implementing a customer service-oriented culture. The district has provided customer service training to all campus clerical and department clerical personnel. We're also meeting with and benchmarking Chick-fil-A on their customer service and culture, Southwest Airlines customer service and culture, visit pending from them. and also HEB and customer service, and their visit is pending also. We also have a strategic design team focused on student recruitment. Partnered with the Hidalgo County Head Start program, enrolled 320 students by participating in 4 parent sessions to welcome them to MISD. Also performed 135 home visits to reach those remaining parents who were unable to attend the parent sessions to welcome them to the district. Utilizing iPads during home visits and at the Student Support Services office to assist parents who wish to enroll or transfer the students into the district and assisting them as necessary. Student Support Services Department visited 23 child daycare facilities to promote student recruitment. By visiting and meeting with both parents and child care administrators, MISD is focused on establishing relationships to promote that the district has to offer what the district has to offer the kids in McAllen. Improved customer service for our parents by opening the student transfer window on February 6, 2017 for the upcoming 2017-18 school year. Normal date for that is normally the 3rd weekend of March, around spring break time frame. By opening it up early, we've resulted in 133 new students coming to the district. Other student recruitment events have been attended include Health and Wellness Expo, resulted in the addition of 4 new students to the district. UT-RGV recruitment of bilingual students, resulted in the addition of 4 new students to the district. Recently, this last weekend, we had our EduFest at the McAllen Performing Arts Center to promote the MISD and enroll new students to the district. I'm proud to say that we have 380 attendees at that, at least. We resulted in 27 new students enrolled, so the 17 transfers and also 10 new kids, plus we got word later today that there's 2 more families coming as a result of that. Future endeavors include continue collaborating with Community Information Department on local community events to recruit new students to the district. And if I may back up, I forgot the autism event last Saturday morning. They were able to pick up a couple students out there. So continue to identify and target new students who are zoned to the district but attend school elsewhere and recruit them by making phone calls and home visits. Establish individual campus recruitment committees to assist in student recruitment by making phone calls and home visits. 2 campuses already is Folsom and Bonham. Coordinate with Community Information Department to utilize radio and TV stations to showcase public service announcements and interviews promoting MISD. Establish a phone bank and utilize MISD employees to promote MISD and recruit students. And finally, utilize a pre-purposed MISD police vehicle to promote student recruitment at local events, similar to what radio stations do today. This can be used at functions for promotional purposes and also used to make block walks promoting the district. This concludes my report regarding student recruitment initiatives for 16-17.
Thank you, Doctor. Mr. Miller, any questions or comments?
On that number, sir, when we call 9618-6031, where does it go to?
Student Support Services.
And I'm just asking, by any chance, if they leave at 5, does it go to an answering service, or that we have an answering?
I don't know. I'll find out.
I'm sure people are not going to call, between, they'll probably call in the evening, or I'm just curious.
I'm sorry, I know there's I beg your pardon, I misunderstood your question. There's a voicemail for that line, yes.
Okay. And not Dr. Gonzalez can carry the cell phone.
Any other questions or comments?
Here's my iPad. I have a comment. I was part of that May 2016 block walking event, and I would like to see us do that a little bit more often. It was quite cool when you roll into a neighborhood in a school bus, and you've got 6 or 7 people that show up at your door and say, "Why isn't your child attending our school? This is something that we want to happen. We care for your child, and we want to invite them to come to our campuses." And there was an initial pushback, but once the parents found out why we were there and found out a little bit more about the district, and we really knocked down a couple of the perceived ideas of other school districts and knocked down that marketing campaign that they've put together, and really I think we may have even gotten 2 or 3 to transfer just off of our bus alone. Yeah, so I think that was something that we need to take into consideration. Doing it once a month may be much, but maybe once a quarter, and just saying, this is the Saturday that we're going to do it. I think it's a great idea.
Yes, sir.
Noted.
Go ahead. Anyone else? A couple of things I saw that was different from what we were doing even a few months ago. One is on the site enrollment Before it was like, we're taking information, we'll get back with you, or you got to go to our website. They had the iPad right there, and I saw, especially at Saturday's event over at the Performing Arts Center, several families actually with their children right there with them, enrolling right then and there. I thought that was impressive. And then the two over at the stadium also on Saturday, right then and there, they had the iPad, had all the setup, and they were registering students right then and there.
Yeah, so they've got a hotspot device, so no matter where they go, they can do it on site. I'm really excited about this card because not only from a promotional standpoint, but as they roll about, they got the hotspot, they got the iPads. It's right instantaneous.
Let's put some 20s on that.
And the event, the community was there watching our students performing in various fine arts and various activities, including our athletes were there to interact. And then they had a chess tournament going on, and they took on adults. I lost, by the way. I didn't get to play, but they were doing that as well to show what we had, UIL academics at the elementary level that we were offering. So what's the plans going forward to getting this at other locations and sites that are not school-sponsored, like Palm Fest, things of that nature?
I think for Student Sports Services, the big thing is staying real close to community information department, so that way they become aware of these community events going on. So the autism event, I mean, they pulled that together pretty quickly and was pretty successful, I think, given the last minute especially. So just getting out there more in the community. I want to add before I forget, they want to throw that light bar on that car to draw some attention to the car like they do with these radio spots and things like that. So.
In doing some research on this, apparently there's some school districts that have repurposed individuals, either part-time or full-time, to do the Saturday activities, because otherwise your whole group is going, and I don't know if you need the entire group, if only 2 people is all you need. And maybe their schedule is such that theirs includes the Saturday event, so they may work like a Tuesday through Saturday versus a Monday through Friday.
Yes, sir, flex our schedule. Also, the individual campus recruitment committees, I know Bonham and Fossum's already got them, so we need to grow that more. So each campus is out there knocking on doors also, so it's really a team effort.
Good.
And just going to add, if to Dr. Gonzalez, the registration process, it kind of relates to this, is 100 times better. We got an email saying your kids are ready to register, just update your contact information. And then I read also in one of your reports that if it's a new student coming in, that we'll take the information, and then later in the school year when they start, we'll
circle back
and get the information. So it's gone from having to stand in the lines and doing all that stuff to, wow, they're ready to register. Right. Literally, it took me 10 seconds.
They did that a couple of years ago, though, no? I remember when my kids were in school, we stopped going through lines. You just had to update the forms online.
Oh, even through Skyward, you'd update your forms, but then you had to go to the campus and update your forms.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Right. No, but this one you don't have to.
There was still a paper component back there, but it was better. Now there's no paper component. They're already registered.
Last year I had to initial some of the forms and sign them again and do some of that.
Didn't you do? I thought we did all that.
You did online, but now it's because some of those forms are already signed. I mean, what's a purpose of signing them every year?
Anymore. You're already registered.
It just said just update your information. You're ready registered. So.
And I know over the last 6, 7, 8 years, we've grown leaps and bounds in that particular area. We're just building upon a very solid foundation. So I do want to commend the previous administration, previous boards, and everybody that kind of set the plate for us, because we were able to make it really efficient because of all the work done before us. So don't want to take credit for everything by any means, but I do want to commend the team for making a great system better.
Well, it's even on the athletic side, she's not here. The physical forms, you upload them and do all that stuff, so it's a lot easier too. So just we're not there like you said, but it's getting better.
We've made a lot of progress, and each year is getting better and better. For the last 6 years, it's been a great effort. Yeah.
It helps with their internal marketing, keeping our students here.
I do have a question, and this came up on the International Baccalaureate when we were at De Leon. I think Trustee Esparza and I were there, maybe a couple of, I think Trustee Farina. And there were a couple of families that were asking questions. It was during the IB presentation, if you recall. And they wanted to register right there and then, but then they were told they had to register for the next school year. So have we made any gains there that maybe we could take, if they meet the 5 criteria in the board policy, to allow them to transfer to De Leon or any of the 3 IB elementary, or any program for that matter, much more quickly and not have to wait until the next school year?
Yes.
Where are we on that?
we're having discussions on streamlining it because what we want to do is grow the program, obviously. So we don't want there to be any barriers. So I know that in working with Student Support Services, we're trying to align them with all of these schools, the PYPs and the MYP, so that they don't have to wait. So once they make a commitment, we really expedite that process, and we do it at events like there was at the Leon that night, an information meeting. So we're not there yet, but that's the vision.
All right, any time frame we're looking at, that, you know, if we know one? We're looking for next year, or?
We're looking for starting in now, but we're still, I guess, fine tuning the system. So I would say that this is a preliminary kind of experimental phase of trying to make it happen faster, but we'll be up at full steam ahead next school year. But that's something that John Wilde and the team is working on right now, really trying to get faster at intra-district transfers and outside.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, 7B6, report regarding facility maintenance and operation projects. Dr. Gonzalez.
This is a monthly report from the Facilities Maintenance and Operation Department. Dr. B and Ruben Trevino are here to walk us through this month's projects. And this is for information only.
Evening, sir.
Good evening.
Almost good morning.
And good evening. This is a report regarding the past facility maintenance operations projects for the last couple of weeks since our last board meeting. On the first slide, we have the Travis Middle School gym area for the concession stand. This is something that they had been requesting. Any activities or anything that would happen, they were always having to put a table or be going in and out, going around. Now they have their roll-up window that with a counter that's ADA accessible, and it's ready to go. Everybody's really pleased out at Travis Middle School. On some completed projects from the FMO on the plumbing department, we've installed the irrigation for the greenhouse that was purchased over at Cathy Middle School. Water heater installs district-wide. We've got the plumbing department going by campus on their normal day-to-day visits. Rowe High School had 2 of them installed, Navarro and Bonham as well. Water fountain replacements. Navarro Elementary had 1, Memorial High School had 2, and Gonzalez also had 1. On the completed projects, we had roof leak repairs during the last moderate rains that we had. They were at Navarro, Alvarez, and Seguin. We also completed several broken window replacements that were done by some vandalism that occurred over the weekends and over the last week of spring break. There were several campuses that we had to go out and do the window replacements. Alvarez as being one of them, Memorial, Brown, McAuliffe, Rowe, Houston Administration, front door, and the Milam Elementary gymnasium. Electrical projects completed by the electrical department over at Rayburn, replacing some hand dryers that were needing to be replaced. Ballasts at the different schools, McAllen Memorial High School, Travis, Hendricks, Achieve, McHigh, De Leon, Lincoln, and Fossum. This is a result of the walkthroughs that the supervisors go through campus by campus on either weekly or bi-weekly basis, and they report back and create the work orders. We've also replaced emergency exit signs at Achieve, McHigh, Houston, and Brown as well. And they will continue to go campus by campus so that everything is in place for this summer for the inspections by the fire marshal's office. Some painting projects from our painting crews. The Navarro Library has been redone completely on the inside. The McHigh Gym, boys and girls PE restroom areas, and also the McHigh portables. 2 of them are fully completed on the exterior. They're now working on the interior. Once those 2 are completed, they will be going to the one that was existing, which is a mariachi area that will be converted and redone. Another completed project is a Fossum Middle School canopy over at the entrance that's already fully completed. On the ongoing projects, we've got the CDBG playground replacements, which we're still pending notice from the city on which ones are going to be able to get funded which are Alvarez, Escandon, Bonham, Roosevelt, and Seguin. The Nicky Rowe High School roof replacement, spoke with the general contractor earlier today. It sits right now at about 98% completion. They're tying up the final details on some of the areas that are part of the contract, and we'll be wrapping up that project here pretty soon. Submitted and completed work orders for March, 1,040 in the month of March were submitted, 895 were completed district-wide. And that's all I have for tonight.
Trustee Suarez.
Promise to make it short.
Too late.
Yeah, I know. It is too late.
Forgot the question. Title.
I got it. It has to do with the pavilion at Milam, and I know we had talked about this earlier. The lighting underneath has to do, I know the city's the one that actually puts the light for us. Some parents were concerned because they have some projects coming up. Do we know where the city is at this point, or can we push it forward? Or
We contacted the city last week in reference to the lighting, and we're just waiting for them to give us when they want to go out there. We did make it known that we would be out there as well to assist if they needed any help. We have the stub out left from where they took them off from the old pavilion, and we'll do whatever it takes on our part to facilitate it and expedite it.
Okay, I understand that, but do we wait for the city? Do we wait a year, 6 months, a month?
Currently, in researching some of the MOUs that are in place with the city, for that particular campus, it's not considered a city school park. They went in there, I think, at one point and installed the lighting, but there's no memorandum of understanding in place, and that's something that we have to look at, so that it's either going to become a city school park and the city's going to be in charge of the maintenance for the lighting and for any of the areas out there, or we're going to install it and it's going to be just a school-owned area.
The meter that's there now, it belongs to the city?
It belongs to us.
So then why would it be the city's responsibility to put the light?
At one point, I don't know how long ago before my time, the city went out there and installed the lighting in the gym, along with several other pavilions district-wide, that there were some memorandum of understandings in place, but not for Milo.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a loaded question. So when we knew that we were going to tear it down, did we know that there was going to be a process, or did we know we were going to have to figure out whether it was going to be our responsibility or the city's responsibility?
At that point, it was the city's responsibility to come back and reinstall, because they came out and removed it prior.
So they did remove that.
They sent their personnel out, and we disconnected the light for them, did our part, and they went ahead and removed it.
So they know we're ready for them?
Yes.
Okay.
We were just waiting for the final completion, which was a couple of weeks back, so that we would not interfere with any of the substantial completion phase, which was 30 days prior. But now they've been given the green light, and the email was sent last week to the Director of Parks and Rec.
Which is?
Mr. Mike Hernandez.
Mike Hernandez, perfect. Okay, thank you, Ruben.
Any other questions from the
Well,
board?
it's along the same lines. I understand there might be some few cracks there. Have you looked at the pavilion?
I've walked it myself several times, and those are the same cracks that I think there was a question way back when. Those are structurally designed to be there. They're control joints. And when we go see the other pavilions that the district has completed in the past, they're in the same location. They're meant to be there.
Okay.
But it's not a structural problem with the concrete at all.
Trustee Farina.
When we replace windows, is it straight glass? Is it a plexiglass? What do we replace them with?
We go back with I can't think of the word, but we have two glass companies in place, and we go back with tempered glass to where it is what we normally go with. However, some of our older campuses have the glass that has the double layered with the wire in between, and we try and go back and match it with the same existing glass. But there are so many types out there and so many shades that sometimes the companies will go out and will have to pre-order the glass for us. And that's why it takes a little longer on some than others.
Would it be more convenient for us just to go with a plexi? And I mean, I've seen hockey pucks bounce off of plexiglass at 114 miles per hour, and there's a nick because it's the vulcanized rubber, but the glass doesn't break.
I think when trying to use plexi, I think one of the issues would probably be with the cleaning. If you're not, doing the or cleaning it properly, you might either scratch it or eventually with time you're going to end up with a
haze on it.
Yeah.
Cloud.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from the board? There were a couple of campuses that went with the water bottle fill units. They're about twice as expensive, más o menos. I know the International Baccalaureate at Lamar was very interested in that. What is it they might need to do to, because I noticed you're starting to do some water fountains, but they were more interested in the water bottle type, at least one unit.
Yeah, the campus principals will usually email the department or send in a work order, and we will provide them with a quote from one of our approved vendors, which a bi-level water filling station is running about $1,600, $1,500 to $1,600. They go ahead and purchase it, and we go ahead and do the installation through the department for the campus.
All right, they just need to prioritize if that's something they want to do on that campus.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your presentation.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. We'll now proceed to 7B7, report regarding SHAC, School Health Advisory Committee. Dr. Gonzalez.
I'd like to change your meeting.
Yes, sir. The Student Health Advisory Council, or SHAC, met on Thursday, April 20th, and Coach Reyna is here to share his report. This is for information only.
President Salivar, board members, and Superintendent Gonzalez. I'll try to do a good job of this presentation because it is past my bedtime. So on behalf of our School Health Advisory Council, SHAC, hold up. Thank you for this opportunity again to present on health-related issues that impact our students. The purpose of our SHAC is to assist our district in ensuring that local community values are reflected in the district's health education. At our most recent SHAC meeting on April 20th, highlights include the Youth Explosion Conference on April 5th for 340 of our high school students was a huge success. On April 12th, nutrition advisor for the Alliance for a Healthier Generation made a visit to our food and nutrition department. Our director for food and nutrition, Ms. Molina, discussed the 2017-18 menus and new meal patterns in pre-K. In physical activity and fitness report, I provided information on the Alliance for a Healthier Generation applications for the awards. In an effort to maintain all McAllen ISD schools with a 100% award-winning status for 3 consecutive years, all schools required to submit applications adhered to deadlines. Wilson Elementary submitted application for the very difficult Gold Award. Results will be announced in mid-May. Let's Move Fun Run is scheduled this Saturday, April 29th at McAuliffe Park around 8 in the morning. Mrs. Adalia del Bosque is following possible legislation on human growth and development. This subcommittee will be meeting in May. I provided an update on FFA wellness regulation accountability forms that were due at the end of the first Wednesday after the 5th 6 weeks. And SHAC members were invited to attend this board meeting. The category of wellness and physical education is one of the components in the mandated House Bill 5 evaluation tool. Because of McAllen ISD's proactive approach to student wellness, which is nutrition and physical activity, health education, physical education, staff wellness, community engagement, and our district's commitment to implement innovative policies such as the FFA Wellness Regulation Plan, we're very confident that all of our schools will be rated exemplary in this area of the House Bill 5 evaluation tool. As I previously mentioned during the report of the SHAC April 20th meeting, you heard some great things that are happening because of our partnership with the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. Listen to this announcement that just came in today. Because McAllen ISD is generally regarded across the nation as an Alliance for a Healthier Generation model school district, our Lion CEO, Dr. Howell Weschler, is planning to address all McAllen ISD staff at our General Assembly on August 21st. Okay, so that's pretty good. So to conclude, we are all, we're looking for any recommendations from the board for parents not employed by the district to join our shack. And on behalf of the shack, we thank our Board of Trustees and Superintendent Gonzalez for giving us the opportunity several times this year to come before you, even though it's kind of late, like today, to address what is really important. And that concludes my report. Thank you for your time and energy.
One slide program.
Thank you very much for your report.
There's no questions, I'm ready.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you, President.
Thank you and good night. 7B8, report regarding Child Nutrition Department Summer Feeding Program, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This evening, the Child Nutrition Department brings a report about the summer feeding program. Ms. Alex Molina and Dr. Barrera will elaborate. This is for information only.
Well, good evening. I have Ms. Molina here from our Child Nutrition Department, and this is about the summer feeding program that's getting almost ready to launch. Summer will be here before we know it, so I'll let Ms. Molina explain some of the points here.
So we are mandated because of our economic status to provide summer meals. We, in March, started recruiting community partners to partner with us to provide the free meals. Last year, we served over 200,661 meals, and the breakdown in terms of breakfast, lunches, snacks, and dinners is provided. We did that in 76 sites. This year, we will start our summer feeding on May 30th. So we end Friday, and we start summer meals on Tuesday, and we'll run all the way to August 4th. The only days we won't provide meals is June 30th, July 3rd, and then July 4th, so we'll resume on July 5th. We will be serving at 37 traditional sites and 15 Meals on Wheels mobile locations. The mobile locations have really improved our delivery of meals because we know that we have a lot of working parents where kids are in their homes, in apartment complexes, and so we've been working with our transportation staff to identify those sites throughout the year. The model is changing slightly in that we will have the bus aides actually go door to door at the houses and bring children from the apartments down to the buses, because when we met with parents, that was a concern of having the kids walk back and forth between the apartments, and so that's a slight shift. We have turned over the Meals on Wheels program completely to our transportation staff, so none of the food service staff is involved in that program. It's the bus drivers and the bus aides that work that program. We train them, and it is beneficial to both programs because those bus aides then also get additional hours during the school year at some of our sites. So it has worked very well. Because our staff is annualized, food service workers are no longer needing to work summer in order to get a check. So any work that they do in the summer will be supplemental pay. And it'll be additional monies for them during the summer. That also helps us retain staff. In the past, we've had issues where you're only letting me work 4 hours or 5 hours. Again, this is supplemental pay, and so it's not affecting a livelihood change in the summer that used to impact our program significantly. The other thing that we're doing new this year is we've worked with our civic organizations, the Wednesday Night Rotary, McAllen North Rotary, Walmart, Academy, HEB, the Kellogg's Foundation, to provide us some door prizes and incentives. So we'll be doing little punch cards because the children do not have to be McAllen ISD students and do not identify themselves by name or anything like that. They'll have little punch cards at the end of the week. If they've participated all 5 days, they'll put their card into a raffle and they'll get a small incentive. If they participate all month, we have 120 bikes that have been donated that we'll be giving them to them for the month participation, because we have a huge drop that happens in June, and knowing that school will not start until end of August, we want to make sure that kids continue to participate in the program as long as we have it available.
Very good. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Molina. Any questions?
Yes.
Trustee Vela.
Question I get asked most often about this program is how we pay for this. Could you go through that
Sure.
briefly?
Sure. So we are reimbursed at the free rate for all students all children that participate. So it is a straight reimbursement. So just like during the year, it's 100% self-funded. We pretty much break even. Last year, we made about $67,000 total in terms of profit. But all the meals, what we do is we buy food, and we make sure that our food cost is about 75% of the total reimbursement, and then the salaries make up the other about 20%. That gives us a 5% window.
Okay, you said we're reimbursed, but we are reimbursed by whom?
By Texas Department of Agriculture, who gets reimbursed by United States Department of Agriculture.
That was what I wanted to get you to say.
Yes.
And it's part of the subsidy program.
It is. So we receive also, for any meals that are served, we also receive commodities in the form of food. So we're able to use these monies to allocate against food purchases that we can get directly from USDA.
And any school district can participate in these programs, is that correct?
Any district that has more than 50% socioeconomic status is required to participate unless they ask for a waiver. And the waivers are hard to obtain for obvious reasons. They want us to participate. And so we are mandated to participate. What we're not mandated to do is go above and beyond, which we do. So we could just say we're going to run it through June 22nd at our summer school sites and stop. But we know that there's a need in our community, and we use it as a recruiting method to get kids used to school meals. So we have seen a return on our investment in terms of kids being familiar with the meal program and that carrying forth into our meal participation numbers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions from the board?
I have one.
Trustee Fornino.
You talk about the punch cards, and if they, how many meals is it the 3 squares a day?
So they have to participate at a site. They can get up to 2 meals per site. Some of our sites, what we've done is we have a bus parked this way, and then we have a mobile site this way. So kids in some of the pockets we've identified can get up to 4 meals if they're willing to walk to them. But all we want them to do is participate in at least 1 meal a day. So we know breakfast, a lot of families will not participate in breakfast, but we're hoping that they'll at least get a lunch or a snack during the day. It just depends on what the family's needs are. So as long as they're eating 1 meal a day at one of our sites, they will qualify for the drawing.
And how are we getting word out about where these sites are going to be?
So we do a media release that's required by law. We just finished staffing yesterday. Tomorrow I'll go ahead and present it to our managers and let them know the staff that is selected for which sites. After that, we send it out to all of our local media. We get on Univision, Channel 4. We do all that marketing. All of our buses have gone around all year with a summer meal served here on the buses. And so our returning sponsors also help us a lot. McAllen Public Library will do a lot of advertising for us. Texas Hunger Initiative and Baylor University, Texas A&M, AgriLife, they're all just waiting for us to tell them the sites. There is a 211 number you can call. It's just sometimes provides inaccurate information. So we're trying to do more of the grassroots level rather than just saying call 211.
I'd kind of like to see our marketing department put together, the English and Spanish video, and let's get that up on our website, as quickly as we can, because I think this is a program that's got to be highlighted. And as much as I appreciate the local media outlets, I don't know if they're giving it the justice that it deserves, because it's something that really carries kids throughout the summer till we can get them back in the classroom.
I would think along those lines, if there'd be a little bit of a background, maybe a line or two where the funding stream is, because I think there's some misconception that it's coming out of our normal business operating instead of federal funds, which is the line item if you look at our budget where it is. So they're thinking we're not paying teachers or not doing away with programs because of the food service programs. And that's not the case.
Yeah, no, we're fully self-funded all year.
Thank you.
Quick question.
Trustee Esparza.
We work with the Boys and Girls Club too, right? We have a feeding program there, or?
We have 30 dinner sites that we run all year too. Again, completely paid for by TDA and USDA meal reimbursement. So we bring in over $1 million just on dinners, and we provide all the dinners at all of our McAllen Parks and Recs and both Boys and Girls Clubs. And we continue all the summer meals all summer at the Boys and Girls Clubs as well.
No cost to the kids?
No cost to the kids. And then also importantly is even if they're not a Boys and Girls Club member, they're not in summer school, all of the sites are open to anybody. So if you live near the Boys and Girls Club, you can go in and get a meal, and you don't have to be a Boys and Girls Club member. And they're very good at advertising that.
What's the age, though? Up to 18?
0 to 18. And there's no proof of age required. So I know we may have some slightly older, but that's what the federal government says, is there's no proof of age required. It's a visual identifier. What the only concern we have for the summer, and that's why we're trying to ramp up sooner, is there has been voiced some concern, especially on our mobile units, about immigration and how that will play out. So we're wanting to kind of let our families know that that should not be a concern. So if we see that the punch cards are actually hindering our program, then we'll just start doing giveaways and raffles, because we're just not sure how that's going to impact based on what we're seeing at WIC clinics and things like that.
Thank you. Trustee Suarez.
Has it been your experience to see even parents ask for food?
It has.
Do we deny them?
Huh?
Do we deny them?
We have to, so because we're federally funded, it only allows for 0 to 18. We have pushed USDA, and we're starting to see a little bit of traction. Right now, we cannot give any leftover food, say, for example, to Salvation Army or to the food bank, because they also receive federal funding. And so we are making some headway through the Texas Association of School Nutrition to try to change that, because I know that there's hunger and there's a need, and right now the federal guidelines say kids can't share with parents, like that is part of the rule, and then they can't take it with them, so we're required to do congregate feeding. So they have to stay on the bus, or they have to stay at the splash pad or at the school.
I don't want to ask this, but what do we do with the food that's left over?
Well, we have less, thankfully,
Yes, ma'am.
but it does have to get thrown away. We do have a partnership right now with City of McAllen Recycling, so we recycle all the milk and all the juice, and that becomes part of our composting. But we've also, I don't know if you've been to our schools recently, we offer a lot more fresh fruit, because they can put that in their backpacks and take it with them. So we've gone away mostly from all canned fruit. We only offer it once a week, and do more fresh fruit, the carrots in the bags, things like that, so that they can take it with them. Once they take it with them, we really have no input on what happens. And we do know that a lot of kids are taking that home to siblings.
Thank you, Ms. Molina. Any other questions or comments? Appreciate your work and that of your staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now proceed to 7B9, report regarding tax collected for March 2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Garcia will report on the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for March of 2017. This is for information only. Ms. Garcia?
Good evening. I have a very brief report. You'll be happy to know. Tax collections.
Yeah, we've heard that all night.
For March, we're 1.7 million. We're doing great. We met with our delinquent tax collection attorneys this past week, and they're also on target. Percentage-wise, they've been narrowing the gap to where the difference this time from the prior year is less than 1.5%. So we're closing the gap on that. In terms of dollar amount, their collections in delinquent were $35,000 more than the prior year, and $5 million more in terms of current collections. And that concludes the report, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, proceed to item 7B10, report regarding the monthly financial investment report for March 2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Garcia will now present on the monthly finances for March 2017.
This is always a fun report where we have our we're showing our comparison of revenues, expenditures, and encumbrance chart. As you can see on the chart, it shows year-to-date to actuals through March 31st, our revenues and expenditures. And then in addition to that, we've attached our investment report. Continued good news with the movement in interest rates for this period. We have earned $88,188.65 for the March ending in March in interest earnings, bringing the fiscal year to date total to $529,442.42. And we'll continue to look at investments. As mentioned earlier in the budget workshop, we are also analyzing our cash flow for any potential delays from the state on the foundation school payment as well. So we're covered from that perspective in case that happens. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to items 8, actions on items in closed session. 8A, approval of human resource recommendations for school year 2017-2018. Dr. Gonzalez.
Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations under separate cover for discussion during closed session, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
It's been moved by Trustee Trustee Suarez, seconded by Trustee Farina. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0, motion carries. We now proceed to item 8B, Human Resource Employee Resignations for school year 2016-2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations for the 2016-2017 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session, and this item is for information only.
Thank you. We now proceed to item 8C, approval of superintendent's recommendation concerning the renewal of 2016-2017 employee contracts of teachers and other professional personnel for school year 2017-2018 school year on DC Legal, policy DC Legal. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. As per DC Legal, the board shall establish a policy designating specific positions of employment to which continuing contracts or term contracts apply. The superintendent has sole authority to make recommendations to the board regarding the selection of all personnel. This list being provided to the board of those current contract employees being recommended to receive a probationary or term contract for the 2017-2018 school year, and we are requesting action on this item.
Items before the board.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Suarez. Second by Trustee Esparza. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0.
I abstained because I abstained last time, or it didn't matter. I didn't vote on this last time because of my spouse.
It's late.
Well, no.
No, I just want to make sure.
If your spouse in on this time, you can vote.
Okay.
So she was.
Right, I just want to clarify. Just wanted to.
So the vote, you are voting on this item?
Yes.
Okay, and so the vote is 6-0. Motion carries. Thanks for clarifying. But I'll proceed to item 8F, pending or potential litigation. Mr.
No
Creighton.
action required at this time.
9A1, approval of interlocal cooperation contract number 2017-011 for the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley for the Texas Pre-Freshman Engineering Program called Tex Prep. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The agreement between McAllen ISD and UTRGV allows students to attend the Texas Pre-Freshman Engineering Program, or Tex Prep, on the UTRGV campus. Tex Prep provides MISD middle and high school students an opportunity to engage in STEM academic enrichment design in the interest of students considering the field of science, computer science, pre-engineering, and mathematics, and we are requesting action on this item.
Mr. President, I'll be abstaining.
All right. Trustee Forino will be abstaining. There's a conflict of interest.
So move on the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Trustee Suarez, second by Trustee Vela. And again, the affidavit regarding conflict of interest will be filed by Trustee Forina. Getting back to the motion, it has been moved by Trustee Suarez, second by Trustee Vela. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 5-0 with one abstaining. And I'll proceed to item 9C, 9C, there's no items on 9B. 9C, 1, approval of bid number 2016-095, health, medical supplies, and equipment catalog bid. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district purchases medical supplies and equipment to stock the nurses' clinics at each campus. Other departments also purchase medical supplies on an as-needed basis, and we are requesting action on this item.
Do I have a motion or a comment?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Farina. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Suarez. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0, motion carries.
Thank you.
Now proceed to item 9C2, approval of Texas Association of School Boards, TASB, Localized Policy Manual Update 107, second read. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This is the TASB Localized Manual Update 107, and the update consists of legal and local reference policies recently adopted by the state, presented as a second reading this evening, and we are requesting action on this item.
Do I have a motion or a comment or a question?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Farina. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Suarez. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0, motion carries.
5-0.
5-0.
5-0.
Thank you.
You're doing good, Dr. Barrow.
Thank you. I didn't realize one of us had left.
One left, one right.
We'll now proceed to 9D1. Approval of interlocal cooperation agreement, purchase number 2017-021, products and services through the Houston Galveston Area Council, HGAG, I guess is the way it's pronounced, cooperative. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district utilizes the contracts through the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative as an additional resource for the acquisition of goods and services for students and staff on an as-needed basis, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Alvarado, second by trustee Vela. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 5-0. Motion carries. We'll now proceed to 9E, superintendent's items. Strategy 1, branding. Goal 1, student achievement, student focus. Subscript would be Autism Awareness Event and first annual McAllen ISD EduFest. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. We have a short 2-minute and 38-second video that will highlight both events.
And we're here today to make a difference in everyone's life. Our lives and the lives of our classmates and our friends. 3, 2, 1. Activate! Let him go! It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home.
Number 6, right here. Still get a prize. Those are some of the great things that went on this weekend.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. I think 17 students were registered into the McAllen ISD on Saturday at the EduFest. Was that
27, sir.
27?
17 transfers and 10 new students.
Wow, pretty good. Excellent. Thank you. Go to 9F, Board of Trustee items. Approval of McAllen ISD, approval of Board of Education meeting minutes. Board workshop, March 27, 2017 at 4 p.m. The regular board meeting, March 27, 2017 at 5 p.m. And 9F 1C is a special board meeting of March 27, 2016. That should be 17, I gather.
So moved.
16, thank you. Trustee Farina, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Alvarado. Any discussion? Again, this approval of the minutes for those 3 meetings, and the last one should be corrected to, it was a 2017 meeting on March 27th. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0, motion carries. Schedule of future meetings, 10A, May 8th, 2017 regular board meeting, 5 p.m. here in the boardroom, the administration building, 2000 North 23rd Street. 10B, May 22nd, 2017 board workshop, 4 p.m. boardroom, administration building, 2000 North 23rd Street. This is a board workshop. 10C, May 22nd, 2017 regular board meeting, 5 p.m. boardroom, administration building, 2000 North 23rd Street. 10D, May 22nd, 2017 special board meeting at 6:15 Boardroom Administration Building, 2000 North 23rd Street. This is for public comment or public forum. Item 11, closed session. No need to go in closed session.
Mr. President, on the meeting of schedule of future meetings, I'd like to recommend that we move them to the Lamar Academy facility because of the amount of accolades, recommendations that we'll have going on.
Okay. Any comments or objections?
The 22nd is testing going on, so we're not able to do that.
That's not an option.
Gotcha.
All right. What if there are that many students? Are we anticipating that many students again, or do we know?
We don't know yet.
If there is, we can choose a campus.
Okay.
Well, sir, if I can also ask, when's the canvassing of?
On the ballot, Dr. Barrera?
We are pending, we have word in, it all comes, it's no earlier than the 3rd day and no later than the 11th day after the election. And what drives that is the number of ballots that have been requested from folks that are out of the country. And so we checked today, there's one that's outstanding, if that one is can come in. We'll have a better picture about the middle of early voting time as to when that one, once we get that one in, there are no others out, then we can go ahead and set it up.
It's out of the country or out of the county? Country or county?
Military.
It was military.
Oh, it's the military, okay. It's not the other ballots that may be going to within the state? Or...
As I understood, it was out of country, out of military.
Okay, good. And from that, it doesn't require the full board. It only requires, what, 1 or 2 board members for the canvassing, is that correct?
For the canvass, yeah.
All right, thank you. Good question. Any other comments or questions regarding future meetings? All right, we'll proceed, since there was no need to go into closed session on 11, 12 was open session, does not apply. Adjournment, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Farina, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Esparza. Proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0, motion carries. So at 10:40,
yeah,
we are adjourned. Thank you. We didn't hit